Merry meet witches!
Hello.
Wow, that's a lot of echo. So much echo.
Hi, everybody.
I'm Gory B Movie.
And I'm Killer Kayla.
I feel like we sound like self-help gurus.
Oh, no, it's like public radio.
Oh, yes.
Yes. That was, I don't know who that was that we just listened
I'm
to.
standing outside. Oh, boy.
Here we go.
So, who we got in the chat? We got My Chunky Jordy. I love My Chunky Jordy. They say Happy New Year. And we got the Time Capsule and Brandon. Brandon didn't read the book. That's okay. A lot of people don't read the book. So we're going to have a whole spoiler-free section. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to get into spoilers at the end in case, somebody's read the book or whatever. But I assume that most people watching, what's going on my banks? Most people watching have not read the book. So we'll just kind of cover it for you. So you're like, oh, do I want to read it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
And some people like spoilers even if you haven't read it. Like, I sometimes do too. It, helps me... see what's so special, and then how do these spoilers get executed, kind of a thing.
I still regret to this day when The Sixth Sense came out. I was at work and I was like, just tell me the ending, because my friend was like, oh, you'll never guess the ending. I'm like, oh, please, I probably would. And then it ended up being one of the biggest, best twist endings of all time.
It's true. Sometimes spoilers you don't want to know, but I feel like while we're telling the story, if it's Sixth Sense level spoiler, we'll tell you, or we just won't say it. Yeah. But I do think having a spoiler section allows us to have a little bit deeper of a conversation about
this one. I feel like we really need to, especially because I do always like to see what other people are saying on GOODREADS, and I firmly disagree with a lot of the negative feedback the book has, and overwhelmingly this book has positive reviews. Mm-hmm. So I want to see both sides of the coin, and I feel like we've got a lot of flat earthers. the negative side. Mommy B Movie's in the house.
Hi, Mommy B Movie.
Mommy B Movie is just the best.
She really is.
I showed Kayla what you got me for Christmas. My little Fisher Price.
Oh my God, you're so cute. Her little people person.
Yes,
so cute. I love it.
Okay, all right. So, what's going on in the world today?
It's 2024.
It is 2024.
We have so many exciting books to look forward to.
We nearly have our whole schedule for 2024 complete.
Yes.
We need your guys' help for one of the months is going to be you guys pick.
Yes.
So if you're not already with us on Goodreads, please join us. There's a link in the doobly-doos below. And start suggesting books, because then eventually we're going to have a poll, and that will be whatever you guys pick.
And I think we have those set in either October, November, or December. We'll come up with one of those months. It's a little later in the year, and that'll give us time.
And then for the channel, I will be bringing back weekly streams. They're not going to be like what I was doing before, where I was doing a lot of deep dives, because I also want to bring back videos, and I want to spend more time on the videos and have the streams just be like, we hanging out, yo. So the streams are going to be more just like, what have I been watching, reading, playing, just all the horror I have consumed this past week. So this Sunday I'm going to a WWE show, but it'll probably be the following Sunday.
Okay.
No,
and then
wrestling.
Is the Sunday after that actually our watch party though?
Yeah, I might change that.
Okay.
So that we have more streams, because we need to figure out our date for that.
Yes.
So stay tuned for that too. We do have, I want to do at least one watch party a month with you guys, especially because there's so many movies I want to show to Kayla, and maybe she wants to show me some movies too. Maybe. I don't know. They're probably not horror movies. I've probably seen them.
We watched a weird one last night. We watched this movie called Wizards.
Yes.
Ralph Bakshi. Weird trip and a half. So.
Brandon wants to know, will there still be Discord watch parties? That is something that I offer for my Patreons and stuff, and channel members. I will be bringing that back very soon. So probably starting either this month or next month. So if you are a channel member, that is something. And also for channel members, like a little treat that you guys get, a bonus stream for you guys is before we watch The Crow. So stay tuned for when we're doing that. It should be in the next week. I'm going to give Kayla a goth makeover, because I am a certified goth. I was a goth in high school. So, I think I'm more I don't know, glam goth now?
Glam goth, yeah. I like it.
But I was just regular.
Sugar pop goth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My friend said I was like a happy goth in high school, like Lydia in the Beetlejuice cartoon.
Yeah.
So I've never been like woe was me goth, but I feel like I got the skills to make you goth.
You do.
Because you got to be goth when you watch The Crow. Because as much fun as that movie is, it is really dark, and it is like, it is the most goth movie that's ever gothed, in my opinion.
Okay, I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to it.
I showed it to my son, and he was just like, wow, really? Like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, really?
Really?
Really? This movie knows what's up.
Exciting.
So, yeah, we're going to give her a goth over. So, if you're a channel member, that's something, a little bonus. You know, we'll have it recorded, so if you miss it, but it'll be just for channel members. So, and then right after that, for everybody, we're going to do the watch party. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
so awesome.
I'll
Plus, I just got that one. Finally upgraded that one to Blu-ray, so I already have it on my Voodoo all ready for us.
Nice. Stoked.
I know, dude.
It's going to be great. I'll bring candy and popcorn.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing a lot of those watch parties. Probably try to do at least one a month. And I want to start bringing back videos, so, you know, give me baby steps. It does take me a while to do this stuff. Plus, I'm probably going to be moving here really soon. But, you know, baby steps. I'm working on it.
Yeah. I love it.
It's all
Get
good.
into
in
it,
the hood.
sister.
So let's talk about the book.
Yeah. So we read Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak.
So Jason Rekulak, I actually have one of his books. Now, if you look on Goodreads, it'll tell you that he's only written like one book.
Yeah, it's called
But you see that book next to the Buffy book? It's really thin.
This one.
Yeah, grab that.
Oh my god, that is the
But
cutest book.
he did write this book, which I didn't realize until I logged the book we're reading currently. He is the actual author. Like on the front, it says illustrated by and based on characters created by Joss Whedon. The person who actually wrote the book, though, is Jason Rekulak. Does he even get credit in this book, or is it just on Goodreads? Right here, yes. Story and text by Jason Rekulak. So, like,
That's
yeah,
so
dude, I was already a
cute.
fan.
Did you like that book?
I love this book.
Yeah?
I actually have a lot of these because that's something that I've been wanting to do. Gory story time where I just read kids' books that are messed
That's
up.
really fun.
So eventually we need to do that one. I have so many
Yeah.
plans. I'm going to do them, guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to do them. Have faith in me.
I have faith in you.
We got Fairpoint Station and Jason in the house. What's up, guys?
Whoop.
We had an awesome New Year's. New Year's Eve is actually the mine and Danny's first date was New Year's Eve. So we always try to celebrate that because if it wasn't for that first date, we wouldn't be married people today.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a blind date too. So like, I don't think anyone thought like it was going to be a serious thing. We just wanted to have fun.
What,
and
10 years later? Something like
13 years later.
13.
So yeah, we went out for that.
How exciting.
I am planning on being more social and stuff and kind of getting out of my funk of the social anxieties.
I feel like you're already doing it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're making it happen. I'm proud of you.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. So we read Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. The plot, is that what we need to do now?
Yeah, we'll give them just a really quick what you
Brief.
find in the back of the book.
Okay.
What's the book about? Spoiler free.
Main character, Mallory, recovering addict, gets a job as a nanny for a 5-year-old boy, right? They're in Philadelphia again, right? This is like the third or the fourth book we've
they're
read.
not in South Philly because she keeps saying she's from South
Yeah.
Philly, so maybe they're from West Philadelphia, born and raised.
But,
Oh, here, Mommy, I wore a ghost shirt because there's ghosts in this book, so there will be food and drink and ghosts. And this is Vincent Price from House on Haunted Hill. So
spooky.
the best trailer for a movie that's ever movied. He's so handsome too.
I don't think I've seen the original. I've
my,
only seen the remake.
Oh, they're both great. My mom I don't remember this, but she told me that when I was little, she could just say, "It's a Vincent Price movie, Haley," and I would just come running.
So you've always been dark. Always dark and
he's
moody.
a stud, dude. He's a
Sure,
stud.
yeah.
I interrupted your great plot synopsis.
So she's from Philadelphia, but they're like the people that she nannies for, they live like in an affluent little suburb thing. And then there's a ghost. And she kind of has to do some digging and find out where this ghost comes from. And yeah.
And kind of the what brings you to this book and why it's called Hidden Pictures is so she's nannying for this 5-year-old boy who he's so gifted because they're all so gifted in rich neighborhoods. But he's drawing these like little stick figures and she's just like, yeah, real gifted. He is a Picasso. But the pictures are weird. They start to show a really creepy ghost. And what I love about this book is all these pictures are in the book. So you start to get this creepy lady in them. And it's upsetting. And then through the pictures, we get the impression that somebody is trying to tell Mallory that something horrible happened to a woman in the past. And so Mallory's going to use these pictures to solve the mystery of what happened in whatever this town is. Yeah, like they're pretty dark. So the parents, of course, are dismissing it as, you know, he's just expressing himself, yada yada. Kind of like, you know, in like The Ring or something. But the babysitter's like, no, there's something creepy going
Something
on here.
else is happening.
This is a message. We need to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
That is the spoiler-free synopsis.
Yeah. So, Mallory, she's like fresh out of rehab. She was a runner. She had like a scholarship to some fancy Pennsylvania university because she was such a great runner. But then, you know, things happened and she ended up having this like pill and heroin addiction. And that's like a big part of the story. But then she's also a runner still. She keeps running throughout the book. And her sponsor, Russell, yes. He used to be like an Olympic athlete coach or something like that. Something crazy. So they are this perfect match of rehabilitation and athleticism.
Yeah, we're going to get a little deeper into them because there's some pretty cool characters in here. Answering Brandon's question, usually I can pull up the chat highlight for whatever reason. That's just not working today, so, you know, whatever. But to answer Brandon's question, have any of you read Stephen Chbosky's, I'm so sorry, I think I butchered that, book, Imaginary Friend? He says it's been on his TBR for a while. It's been on mine, too, because pardon me, unladylike moment.
Get it out.
Just like, he wrote Perks of Being a Wallflower, which is one of my favorite books of all time. That book is just all the feels in that book. It's such a great book. And that he went hard with his second book, I think is really, really interesting to me. The synopsis is really interesting to me. So that is what I really want to read. Brandon, you should request that on the Goodreads page. And it'll go in the poll, and then hopefully it gets picked. Because I've had that. I have it. I have it on my Kindle. I've had it for a long time, and I just haven't read it. So, but yeah, that one sounds really good. It sounds similar in a lot of ways to this one. I'm going to try and connect the chat thing again. So, let's talk about how the book is written. So we're not going to talk about the story or anything. We're going to talk about just the writing, which I think is crucial. I think I've read a lot of books. Oh, there we go. We got it going now. Mommy likes the illustrations.
Yeah,
me too. I really like them. I kind of wondered if the author drew them, but it says in the back someone else did. But I think it adds something. Yeah. And absolutely, I actually did a little bit of both. With my job, it's very easy to listen to an audiobook while I work. So I was listening to the audiobook, and then I remembered Kayla showed me her book, and there's pictures. I'm like, wait a second, are these pictures in the... So then I kind of switched over to my Kindle, which is good. I don't recommend the audiobook. The main narrator is great for doing Mallory, but she makes every other character in this sound like either a smoker or like a really old man. They all have like scratchy gravel voices, and I find it really, really... Especially for like the teenage boy, I'm just like... She does her voice and the little kid's voice very well. Everything else,
not so much.
Not loving it. Good. Not that she did a bad job. It just wasn't working for me and the way I pictured the characters. As you guys know, I like to fan cast them a lot. I use the site fan cast.
Yes. Did you do this movie?
I did do this movie.
I'm excited to hear your takes. This is like one of my favorite things to hear other people do. I feel like I'm really, really bad at fan casting because I can only ever think of like 3 actors.
So you go to the website.
Yeah.
There's a website called Fancast, and people have their suggestions.
Only ever think of Tom Holland. Tom Holland's going to be in every movie I ever direct.
I do that whenever there's a redhead. I always think of like Sadie Sink from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Like instantly.
Cute. I love it.
I get it.
I think of like Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah. But like an adult.
I'm really bad at that kind of thing.
So what did you think of the writing in this?
I liked it. I thought it was really well written. I mean, like the pace of it. So it's first person, right? Like,
it's
from her, from Mallory's point of view. I liked it. I picked it up. I immediately was intrigued. I blew through it in a couple weeks. Like, not as fast as some other books, but faster. Like, I wasn't bored. I wanted to keep reading it. It's not super long. I enjoyed the writing. What was my for the technique and our little...
Your notes are so good. You should show them your notes. Her
Oh,
handwriting is
my
so
note.
nice.
Well, this is our, like...
Mom, you would like it. My mother hates my penmanship.
This is the rubric on this side. Sorry, the camera's backwards. The rubric for our books that we're doing now, which is really helpful. Gory made it for us. And then over here is the list of the books that we have planned out for 2024. So I said for technique, for the writing, I thought it was... I don't know. I kind of go back and forth between 4 and 3. Like, it was an interesting concept. I thought it was executed well. You did not.
Well, we'll get into that. I don't want to spoil them too much on that stuff. Just on how it's written, though.
Well,
like not the plot, just the writing.
Yeah, I thought it was written well. I was intrigued. I wanted to,
like, descriptions and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's really easy to read. It's really clean. I was surprised by the use of first person and with Mallory's character. The book, considering it deals with some dark stuff. We have a lot of trauma elements in this without giving you spoilers. We have drug addiction. This book is it's a YA version of that. I feel like this book reads like a YA novel. It's very easy to read. It's a, very, you don't get tripped up on the language at all. It's really easy to read, but it's very simple.
Very simple.
It's very YA. It's a little too glossy. It doesn't get darker like a Stephen King book or something. Like, if you had a 14-year-old, they could read this.
Yeah.
It's not
easily.
It's I don't think it really quite reads like an adult novel, which is not a knock against it. Some of my favorite books are YA. I love Twilight. I'm that person. I love YA novels, but with the cover and everything, this is trying to say this is an adult novel. It's really dark and scary. It's not.
No. I wanted it to be scarier, for sure. I definitely did. And I thought it would be like the movie The Boy. That movie scared me. Maybe that makes me a chicken, but like I thought that movie was really scary. And I was hoping that this would be more along those lines of scariness. But I definitely didn't think it was that scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the characters. There's not a lot of characters. in
No.
this. So we got Mallory, who's our main character, the babysitter.
The babysitter.
Who is a former drug addict.
And she's like 19 or something like that? 20?
She's 21.
Is she 21? Okay.
Yeah,
she's
even
pretty
though
young,
it reads
though.
like, I think that's why they're trying to say it's an adult novel, because she reads like she's 19.
Yeah, she does.
She's 21. Even a new adult novel, which is like kind of your early 20s, but it does not read like an adult novel. And I feel like they're trying to market this to like your Dean Koontz, Stephen King crowd, and I feel like it's not quite there. So the characters, then we've got the little boy is Teddy. The couples, Caroline and Ted. Just Ted. And we got a love interest, and we've got the sponsor. I want to say my favorite character in this book is Russell. I think he is the most interesting character. That is Mallory's sponsor.
Yeah.
And he's taken her on, one, because he's had a dark past with addiction himself. So he believes in second chances. But he also likes that she was an athlete. And he's an athlete. And so I really like that he is focused on using her running to help her, like giving her something else to be addicted to, get addicted to running, and so he's constantly telling her, like recommending diets to her. He's constantly like trying to push her to, go faster and harder without like being like a mean coach. Like he's using it as therapy for her, which I think is really cool. Like I read once about a family, I thought it was like the coolest foster care. They had a farm, and the foster kids, when they got there, would get to work on the farm, and it would kind of take their mind off of all the horrible stuff that they had been through. And I feel like that's what Russell is.
Absolutely.
He's like, yeah, you have a dark past, but let's focus on running right now. Let's focus on what we can achieve.
And I feel like, because I grew up in a home with addict parents. I have addicts in my family, and we went to a lot of like NA and AA meetings together, and it's an easy transition for somebody who was an addict to find something else to focus their attention on. And for Mallory, it's running. Like a lot of people, they turn to religion, and that makes the most sense for them. But for her, she does have a little bit of religion too, but really it's her running that she just clings to. and he and Russell helps her. I like Russell too. I thought Russell was a great character.
It's so funny because we fan cast. I fan casted my doctor, our family physician, because he's a distance biker.
Oh, fun!
And he's always talking about biking and stuff.
Yeah.
And whenever I do anything physically, it's like that's who I picture. So like,
Yeah.
I couldn't put that on a fan cast. I'm
No.
like, where's my doctor?
You could like steal his headshot or something.
I cast real people. But yeah, that's how he's always been.
That's funny.
So I really liked him.
Yeah.
If I had to cast an actor, probably like somebody like Sylvester Stallone or something. You know, like somebody old but in shape. You know.
Yeah.
Not as good as Dr. Michael Fandich though. Like he's the best. So let's talk about Mallory.
Yeah, Mallory. I don't know how much to say without.
Did you like her?
She was okay. She was a little surface, definitely. Like she, like I wanted to know what she was going, what her plans were. Wanted to know what she'd been through. The very, very opening of the book, there's that trial that she's in, and I thought that part was really neat. And I wanted more. Like I
talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So at the very beginning of the book, she goes to part of she's looking for drugs. She's looking for her money for drugs. So she goes to this like trial, like a research clinic,
like a medical trial.
Yeah,
like you would do it at like a college campus.
And they're like, I don't know what the purpose of this trial was, to be completely honest with you.
They were trying to test the male gaze.
The male gaze. So she's like blindfolded, and there's like 7 dudes, and she has to say when she thinks they're looking at her, and she gets perfect score.
And they all clap. Everybody clapped.
Love it.
And Danny's home.
Oh, is that what that was?
I think.
So she gets this like perfect score, and I was like, this is cool. I'm immediately hooked. Like, I want to know what she's capable of.
Yeah, interesting, because it's like she's got some kind of superpower here. And unfortunately, she has all the information for this in her phone. She sells her phone. She trades her phone for drugs.
Yeah.
And then her sponsor tells her, like, we make up a lot of stuff. We have false memories in our head because of addiction. And so they're really starting to set up this whole, like, unreliable narrator.
Yes.
We'll get into whether or not that works later on. But he's like, yeah, that probably didn't happen. Everybody clapped. Right. Oh, maybe it's my package. I'm expecting a package today.
Well, the dogs are going crazy.
I know.
Maybe it's a ghost.
My only problem with Mallory is way too nice. Some messed up stuff happens to Mallory throughout the novel, and she never gets angry. She never gets angry or has any negative feelings. No jealousy, no anger. She beats herself up a bit, but like it's such the nice little Mary Sue type response. And she was an addict, and I feel like any of us who've ever known an addict, addicts are... They're selfish people. They're selfish people who do horrible things to people that they love because now all of a sudden what matters to them is getting that fix. And yes, she's in recovery, but even when she talks about the bad stuff she did, I'm like, so you never stole from anybody. You never, like, it seemed a little too clean. She was just way too nice. She never gets frustrated with the kid. The kid never has a tantrum or a bad. The kid too was.
Well, the kid was an angel.
The kid's an angel.
Too perfect, a little clean.
The kid, like, she never has a day where she just doesn't, like, she feels bad when she's tired and she oversleeps, but she never snaps at the kid or anything. Like, make her human.
Yeah.
Please make her human.
Yeah.
I like her, but, I mean, you didn't give me any reason not to like her.
She's kind of like a mat, like a doormat. Like, even when she's frustrated with the parents, she's just like, whatever, lets it go, lets them move on. Like, there's no negative.
Why does Dan have to make that so creepy? I'm not home.
I'm not home. Yeah.
Anything of note about the other? I don't think Teddy's a very interesting character. He's just a cute, precocious kid.
Yeah, he's a cute kid. Silly, like they play in the pool. Everybody loves him.
Always says the cutest thing. Teddy is like a kid from like Full House or something.
Sitcom.
Like, he's a sitcom kid. He's not a real person. Mallory is not a real person. Mallory is the equivalent of an addict you would get on Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
Like, they tell us she's an addict. Just like, remember when Saved by the Bell. She took too many of the
caffeine
pills. And she's like, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Like, that's as deep as we're going to get with Mallory's addiction to
well, I don't even feel like we get that deep because on Saved by the Bell, she, like, broke down and she, like, started crying and, like, had this whole, like, oh my God, I am addicted to these pills. We don't get that from Mallory. Like, we really don't. Ever.
And she beats herself so much, but when you get flashbacks to things that happen, you're like, oh, but it wasn't really her fault. Like,
no.
This is something I find a lot with newer authors. Now, this is his second book, but I feel like a lot of new authors, and it being his second book, I think we can still count him as a new author. They're too precious with their characters. They want us to like them, and as somebody who writes, yes, you start to grow to like these people like real people, but you want them to be real. And it's scary when you, like, it's kind of like when you tell somebody a negative story about your spouse or your mother, and you don't want them to dislike them, so you don't tell them that. I feel like he's only telling us the good stuff about these people and not trusting that we would still like somebody even if they had a bad day, even if they did something negative.
Yeah, we need more, like, robust characters. Everybody in this book is very surface level, even with, like, the lady next door. Like, I really liked her. I thought Mitzi. I thought she was really cool, and I wanted more. I mean, she had the most attitude of anybody in this book.
Yes, I really liked her.
Yeah.
And she says some stuff that's kind of like, oh, okay,
Well,
Mitzi, you're going to get canceled. But she was one of the most interesting characters in the book.
Yeah.
I feel like you put this up against something like Dr. Sleep. One, I think, they allude that she's had to, like, sell her body for drugs and stuff. Give us one of these scenes. Show us her worst. We never see her at her worst. It's all, because it's set in present day. Yeah. But look at something like Dr. Sleep, where it starts with him at his rock bottom. What was the thing that made him, and it's pretty bad. And movie. He did horrible things. I'm talking about the book, but, movie too. Like, he was in a bad place. Or even The Shining, came before Dr. Sleep with Jack. Like, Stephen King, because he was an addict, I guess you're always an addict, he writes addiction really well. And unfortunately, people who are addicts, they have a lot of shitty days where they do things where they hurt people. That's why part of the 12-step program is going and apologizing to everybody you've wronged, because most likely you've wronged a lot of people.
Yeah. And owning up to it and acknowledging that it happened.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. I want to know, did Farpoint Station, did you read the book? Because they said, I wanted a whole chapter about the terrible things she did for drugs. I just want to know.
I would love to know. If you guys have read the book, let us know.
Yeah, please.
So, I mean, they say she did drugs and stuff, so you can say, like, oh, she's flawed. But we, whereas, like, Jack, he dislocated, I think in the book he dislocated, he broke his son's arm in the movie. He did something really fucking bad.
Yeah.
And in the book, not the movie, but the book, we are supposed to have sympathy for him. And Dr. Sleep is another one where it opens with, I can't remember about the movie, but Danny, he wakes up after a bender, sees that there's a little boy there with a full freaking diaper, and just steals this poor woman's single mom's money and leaves. Like, it's like, oh, you're disgusting.
And in the movie, it's that same thing, but I think that she dies.
Oh, God, yeah?
And because she's, like, puking on the bed, and he, like, later gets a vision of her with, like, flies and stuff around her.
Yeah, so, like...
And he left the baby there.
That's not a likable thing.
No.
Our likable protagonist protects the kid, doesn't steal money and stuff, but we're supposed to... This is showing us that addiction's not pretty. You are not your best self.
Yeah.
And Danny is the hero of the book, and we like Danny. We like Danny despite the fact that he's done some unlikable things.
Yeah, because
this book isn't trusting us in that way.
No, I agree with that completely.
Anything else you want to say about characters?
No, I don't think so. I think that just about covers it. I think that's... So, I mean, we can talk about, like, the love interest is Adrian.
Good point. Let's talk about him. I cast the kid who plays Miguel in Cobra Kai.
I think that's perfect.
Thank you.
I think that's perfect.
What's funny is that was when I saw the whole thing. Probably just because I recently saw Blue Beetle and he's in that. And I just really like him.
He's cute.
But he's adorable. Yeah. And this kid is supposed to be really adorable.
Yes.
But when I went on to Fancast, he was the #1 pick.
I think that's perfect.
So I was like, I'm not alone in this.
So Adrian, they meet because he's there doing landscaping for the family.
Sorry, Danny's distracting you with his funny comments.
Danny, stop it. Stop being so funny. he is there with the landscaping crew cleaning, and Teddy loves him and he loves Teddy, and they're really cute. Turns out his dad owns a landscaping company. He's there for the summer on break for college. He's like super smart. His dad owns the landscaping company, and they have this gorgeous house down the street. The mom's like,
yeah, they call it like the flower castle.
oh my gosh, it's like full of flowers, and the mom's like
a scholar.
She's like some kind of a botanist or something, like super smart lady. I liked Adrian. Again, like very surface, very simple. Sweet. His mom was a little more like, she had some doubts about everything. Like, she was a little more believable as a character. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I think that's what's frustrating. It's like Adrian, even when bad stuff comes to light, you know, one of the things that Mallory does that is bad is she does lie to Adrian about her past. But even that's a cute little misunderstanding.
Yeah.
But, you know, he forgives her way too quickly. He doesn't call her names. He doesn't blow up at her. Like, I kind of wanted something like I saw in Valley Girl where, you know, Nicholas Cage's just like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like,
something.
Be a human being.
Yeah.
He's just a little too cutesy. And, you know, his parents, they're a little, like, I'll get more into some of my annoyances with this. But, yeah, everyone's very sitcom. Very sitcom, which is great. Sitcom characters are lovable, but they don't usually belong in horror novels.
Yes, 100%. We needed a little more grit, a little more filth.
Yes, where's the filth? Like, Boulet Brothers, come on.
Who?
The Boulet Brothers, they have like a horror drag show.
Ooh.
And they judge them on glamour, filth, horror. But yeah, filth is a part of it. Filth is important.
Yeah, it is. And we didn't get any of it.
Yes, no John Waters scenes. Gross. John Waters is so gross. He epitomizes filth. So let's talk about, because this is Bloody Book Club, so we pick horror books. Sometimes they're more horror than others. But this, I expected a lot of horror. Hey, Denisha, what's up? I expected a lot of horror because this was the Goodreads book of 2022.
Yes. It was. And I think I bought it in like January of 2023 because it was such a big deal.
It's also such a big deal because that's voted on by users of Goodreads.
Yeah.
So I'm almost every year Stephen King wins. And this was one year where Stephen King had a book up. It was Gwendy's Final Task, and he didn't win. So I was like, good for you, Jason.
Yeah. It wasn't scary. There were a couple of like suspenseful parts for sure, but I would not. It could have been more horror.
I agree. That's my biggest complaint with this novel is it is not scary. And I think the way you establish fear in a horror novel is you are worried for the safety of your characters. And even though there's a little boy in this and there's a young girl that we care about, never once felt like they were in danger. Not until like the very end of the book. And that part comes out real sudden.
I did think she was gonna get fired a couple times,
but
like nobody's life was I ever really concerned for.
So we know that either there's a possessed kid or there's a ghost, but never once felt like that ghost wanted to hurt anybody. There were so many missed opportunities in this, and so one of the things like I wish his editor would have done for him is said, what are you trying to do here? Do you want to make a horror novel? Okay, we need to put these characters in danger. Again, he is so precious with these characters. This book does not have a body count, really. Like, nothing that not enough for a horror book.
Yeah.
He is so precious with these characters that he doesn't put them in any real peril.
Yeah.
And he has an opportunity here. We've got a ghost. So you could set up some cool, like, ring, creepy girl. I mean, even though what happened to Samara, that's unfair, but she's still scary. We've got a kid who's sometimes possessed. That's an opportunity for horror. He doesn't use it. It's just so disappointing. This book is never scary. A little suspenseful, but really this should have been marketed more like something like Girl on the Train, because it seems like mostly what he's trying to do is a murder mystery suspense thing. Unfortunately, I don't think that works either.
I think you're right. I think the more that we talk about it, the more I think you're right. I liked it. Like, I truly, like, didn't see anything. Like, I was in suspense the whole time. But again, I was like, I read it pretty fast. I'm not coming at it from, like, a writing perspective either. You have a
and
lot
I'm not
more,
an author.
right? But you have a degree in, like, literature. Like, you are trained to look at these things from, like, a different perspective. I'm not. I'm an accountant. I just read a lot of books. So my perspective on the matter is a little bit different, and I just think I see exactly what you're saying. There's plenty of missed opportunities. If I liked Girl on the Train, then this definitely made me feel the same way as that.
The reason why, for me, it does not work as a murder mystery, something like Girl on a Train, you're constantly like, what is going on? Also, that one did a great job of having a character who's very flawed with their addiction.
God, she was a
mess.
mess.
That's addiction. She's a hot mess, and this book needed to have that. Nobody's a hot mess.
No.
But the other thing is, you should constantly be guessing. I'm going to tell you the very first introduction of characters. So I'm going to say, I think, chapter 2. I guessed who the killer was. Not 100%, but the killer that's on the book knew who it was, and I'll tell you why. There's no fucking suspects.
Yeah.
So they do a lot with somebody. There's a legend of somebody dying in the cottage that the girl stays in. But obviously, if you have this story here, it needs to tie to the present. So your reveal at the end, in a lot of these things, even ones where it's set in ancient history, like a good example is American Haunting. So the woman in that book, or that movie, is reading the diary of this little girl who was possessed. And she's scared because her daughter is exhibiting the same signs. She's like, okay, what if there's a ghost in the house that's possessing her? And you find out that she wasn't possessed. She kind of became a poltergeist. Because she was being molested. And then you realize it ties to the present because she finds out that her daughter is being molested by her father. And she just sent that little girl off to see her dad. So you need a tie-in, right? So obviously the killer, the person on our cover here, is going to be somebody in present day. We do not have a lot of adult males in this book. And there's not a lot of suspicion cast on anybody. There were so many opportunities to make, like, Adrian suspicious, to make Russell maybe suspicious. I don't know, but it's...
Even just introducing a couple of other characters who were suspicious.
Characters!
There were opportunities for that. Like, there's, like, parties down the street and stuff. There's plenty of opportunities to introduce more characters.
The characters in this legend, this woman had, like, a brother or something, show some of her family members in present day. It did not know what it was doing. Where there's no suspect, so I don't think it works as a murder mystery. I hope people were surprised by it. I was not. The other details of the ending, we'll get into that in the spoiler section, I called pretty early on too. I was not surprised by anything in this book. I did not think it was plotted well in that respect.
I was.
We'll talk about it.
I was.
And I'm glad you were.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, it's also trying to do a lot of things, and I feel like it's just very unfocused. I feel like an editor should have said, what is it you want to do? You want to make a horror? We need to make it scarier. You want to make a thriller or murder mystery? We need more red herrings. We need to plot more things. It surface level did both of those, and I don't think it did either one very well or effectively. And the other thing it's trying to do is a psychological thriller. Now that works when we question the reliability of our narrator. The only time this book successfully does that is with the opening scene where she's doing that trial. We're like, okay, did that really happen or did it not happen? I kind of thought it did happen. But that's the only time where I wasn't sure if she knew what was actually happening. The rest of the book, because we've got other characters like Teddy and Adrian verifying what's happening, I believed her.
Yeah, and I did too.
I think he wanted to do like an unreliable narrator for us to go, is it a ghost? Or, see, that's the problem too, is the ghost is in the drawings, but we don't see the ghost until later. So you're supposed to, I think the author wanted us to go, well, she could be crazy. This might not be happening, but it just doesn't make sense with the story.
Well, and with how cleanly these characters were written too, like, we didn't have any reason to think that she would really be crazy. Like, she had no filth, she had no dirt, she had no, like, true unreliability. Like, she hadn't stolen from anybody, she hadn't, like, had other, like, means to her ends. Like, there was nothing really like that for us to not trust her in that way.
Denisha says that she hopes we had the best holiday going into 2024. I did. You?
I did. It was a really nice holiday.
I hope you did too, Denisha. And Brandon said he's getting get this from the library. I'm going to get to our final ratings at the end here.
Yes.
We got some more things to cover, but we're getting there. We're going to keep you in suspense.
Watch out.
Why did I do that like a wrestling promo?
I don't know. You did. You're getting into it. You're getting ready. You have all kinds of wrestling things coming up.
Now we're going to talk about, without revealing the ending, without revealing the killers, which I think is stupid because I don't think it's a very effective murder mystery. The plot. So, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is, do you think the novel handled addiction well?
No.
Why?
It wasn't, she never felt desperate enough. Like, I feel like a big part of addiction and what I've seen with addicts is the sadness and the hopelessness and the desperation. And she never
hit rock bottom.
No, she didn't. She was kind of like, I don't know what the right word would be, like apathetic almost. Like, she was just like, this is my lot. Like, these terrible things happened.
She treated it more like how you would expect someone to treat, like they cheated on their SATs.
Yeah. Like, she was never in any real trouble. She ended up going to rehab, you know. Did she even go to rehab? I don't even know if she went to rehab.
She did. She's at like a rehab facility called Safe House or something.
Yeah.
But like,
that's like a halfway house.
Being an addict is a big deal.
It is a big deal.
You are an addict for the rest of your life.
And it doesn't feel that way with her.
She avoids a lot of things to avoid addictive behavior. She doesn't have caffeine. She goes to church. She doesn't go out. She's not allowed. Her sponsor tells her don't do social media because that can encourage depression, which can lead to more addictive behaviors. But we never see her struggle with this stuff. There's one scene where she goes to Mitzi's house and she looks inside her medicine cabinet, but she doesn't take anything.
No.
So she does see that she's got Oxy, which is one of the things she was addicted to. She's addicted to Oxy and heroin. Yeah. But she doesn't even take anything.
No.
So it's just like...
No, I didn't...
I wanted them... Honestly, I thought at one point she was going to relapse, which, you know, any book, you need to have the character get to... Like, with any book, I feel like your author needs to ask themselves, what's the absolute worst thing that can happen to this character? What's the absolute worst thing? And I think for this character, Mallory, one of the absolute worst things is that she relapses.
Yes.
She needs to relapse.
Yeah. And
honestly, I think she should have relapsed with the kid in her care and gotten fired. That is the worst case scenario. I think the kid should have also gotten hurt. Again, Girl on a Train did this so much better. She does relapse.
Yeah.
She does hit rock bottom. She does hurt people she loves.
Yes. That's a really good portrayal of an addict.
Your reader should be at some point going, oh my God, how are you going to get out of this? And I never worried for Mallory.
No,
like,
not
I was
really.
Like, no.
Even if she would have gotten fired, I was like, well, she really has it together. Like, she can go get a job anywhere she wants. Like, she's fine. She was young enough, like, she could have gone back to school. Like, I was like, there's no problems for this girl.
She's embarrassed that she's not in school. I'm like, honey, you're 21, you're a baby. You can, I mean, honestly, you can go back to school at any age you damn well want. When I was in college, I went to school with a woman who was in her 80s. Yeah. There's no age limit to it, but she kind of makes it seem like that ship has passed. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, I feel like Mallory didn't have a lot of real world experience, was considering how Mallory was addicted to heroin. I kind of feel like Mallory should have a little more insight into the darker side of humanity.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that 100%. Yeah.
What I will say I liked about the plot is I do, and this kind of gets into negative reviews I read. Some negative reviews called the book racist. And I think that's way fucked up. I'm not going to get into the other comment because that spoils the ending. But let's talk about the people calling the book racist.
Yeah, I don't.
We have Adrian. He is Latino. I'm not entirely sure if they're from Mexico or what, but they are Spanish speaking. And Mitzi makes a comment about, like, you know, how
those people,
he's a landscaper. She has a lot of stereotypes about that.
Yes.
Which is obviously very racist. Mitzi is racist.
Mitzi is racist. Yes.
But the book isn't. What I liked about the book is, especially with Adrian's character, she finds him reading a Chewbacca novel. Yeah. Like, you're a dork. You're a nerd. That's not part of the Mexican stereotype. It's not at all. He's a nerd. She even says she thinks he would dress up to go to a Star Wars convention. Yes. Like, he's a nerd.
Yes.
He's also they're wealthy. They're very wealthy.
Yes.
And he goes to a very prestigious college. He's got great grades. So I disagree. I feel like this showed us overall
Yeah.
That stereotype doesn't exist here. We have a character who's racist, but the portrayal of Adrian is not racist.
Yes, I agree with that 100%. Yes. There's, and then, I mean, I was also trying to think if that comment could lead to anything with, like, the other, like, the murder, the underlying murder mystery victim, how she was black.
She is Hungarian. Okay, well, that gets confusing.
That does.
I know what you're saying.
All right, well,
now.
Then continue. Anyways,
so there are black and Hungarian characters featured throughout. Also, I was surprised a lot of people cast Russell with black actors. I don't remember reading that Russell was black, but obviously there's nothing stereotypical because it didn't come across to me.
No. I pictured Russell as like an old white dude. Like an old skinny white dude with like a big beard.
That's what I pictured.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
like Forrest
seriously?
Gump when he's running.
I want to show you a picture of my doctor.
Okay.
Just bear with me, guys. I need to show her this, okay? Like, book club's just about some other stuff, but... Oh, where is he? No, these are other boring white guys. My doctor's not boring. He's lovely. There he is! That's my doctor!
Yes.
That's perfectly him,
That's
isn't
exactly,
it? That's him!
Little beard, little
cast
goatee.
him in the movie!
Yes, he would be perfect.
He is so perfect. Dr. Michael Fadich in Wenatchee. Google it. He's up, because it's this is him. He's a distant spiker.
But specifically with the facial hair. Like, I pictured Russell with facial hair. I don't know if it was ever said, but that's, like, what I was imagining in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't feel like, people accuse Stephen King of being racist, because he has a lot of characters who are a lot more racist, who are throwing around the N-word and stuff. The characters are racist. Yeah. He has ugly characters in his books. A lot of racist down south people. A lot of homophobic people. That does not mean Stephen King is. His daughter is a very proud lesbian woman who is like the head of a church. Like, I don't think this is an issue we have with Stephen King. But we're getting off topic here. Yeah. But I'm just saying, with writers, just because they have a character who might say some stuff that's racially insensitive does not mean our author is. So that's something I really want to defend the writer here on.
100%. I do think this might be, I can save this thought for the end.
So I do want to get into the ending of spoilers, but I think for those of you who don't want to be spoiled, I'm going to skip forward a little bit and just get into our rating. Not necessarily our final thoughts. We're going to save our final thoughts for the end. Without talking about the ending, what did we overall give this?
So I gave it a 4 on Goodreads. And this was before we talked.
I'm going to start, I haven't gotten there now. I do have a rubric I created myself that I use for rating books. Yeah. And it ties in with Goodreads. I do have the Goodreads one on there. I'll put that in the description so you can kind of see what it means when we say it's a 4.
Yeah, I think
it's
that's
a little more descriptive than like Goodreads.
Yeah, so a 4 on Goodreads is I really liked it. I did. I really liked it. With your rubric, with the one that you sent me, for like the spirit of it, I only gave it like a 3, because I definitely think there were a lot of missed opportunities, for sure. Like, I wanted more. I'm always left wanting more, and maybe that's a me thing.
For me, that's more like, did it make you feel something? You know, like the spirit of it. Yeah. Like when something, I mean, the spirit of it doesn't have to be highly intellectual. Yeah. There's Pixar movies that bring people to tears. I think the spirit of Finding Nemo is very beautiful, and I would give it 5 stars. Yeah. So it's just, did it make you feel something? Did it make you think? You know?
And it did.
Does it have heart? Yeah. Does it have passion?
And this one, I mean, it didn't really. It didn't really.
But that's one thing I was thinking when I was writing this, because a lot of times, sometimes I read a book and I'm just like, wow, that's a genius freaking idea. Yeah. Wow, how has no one thought of this before? Yeah. This is genius. And this, I was just like, you came up with this idea and you sat down for 3 months or whatever and wrote this. Like, that sounds boring. Yeah.
I do think there is potential here with this author. Again, this is his second book, maybe third if you count that Buffy one.
He's got talent.
Oh, for sure. I will read future books by this author. I gave the art. I thought it was unique, but maybe, I don't know. After you and I have talked,
like the technical part of it.
Yeah, maybe I go down to a 3.
Don't change it because of me. I'm in the minority here. I'm a jerk.
It achieved its goals. However, the goal should have been higher. I should have had a higher. He could have done more.
I think with books, what you're looking at, with movies, there's so many people involved, but with books, it's one person creating it, and it's really hard to do both. Yeah. There are people who are extremely talented writers, and they just don't have very good ideas, or they don't plot their stories very well. A famous example is, I keep bringing up Stephen King. Yeah. Stephen King has fantastic ideas, but he doesn't really plot out his stuff, so his endings can be disappointing. Yeah. And another person I follow, Savvy, writes books on YouTube. She's flipping brilliant in her reviews. Like, if you want an in-depth review on why it doesn't work on a writing level, Savvy's got you. But her books are kind of like a little uninspired. Like, I don't think she's got like great ideas.
Yeah.
But she definitely knows writing. I think she's well suited as an editor. Yeah, and she writes and stuff really well. I just feel like with this guy, he's got the writing talent, but the story ideas were not developed enough. Yeah. The characters were not developed enough. And I think I think an editor was right in saying, hey, this is special, we need to publish this. But they should have helped him develop this. I think the first question is, do you want this to be a horror novel? Do you want this to be a murder mystery? Do you want it to be both? Because that could be really exciting. Let's do both. And how are we going to make this scarier? How are we going to make this more mysterious?
If he had wanted to do both and do it well, I would have read a book double this size.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. Yes. This could have been something really special. This could have been kind of like, I kind of wish it was more like The Ring. Yeah. Because The Ring is a murder mystery horror. Ooh. And a lot of people compare it to that, and I don't think it quite comes to that. I don't think it's ever scary like The Ring. Yeah. Even the book Ring is a murder mystery horror. And I don't think it's really scary, and I don't think it's much of a murder mystery. Yeah. But it had the bones of it. Yes. And that's what frustrates me. I think his editor, in my opinion, let him down. However, keep in mind, this was the best Goodreads book for horror in 2022. Yeah. People love this book. I'm in the minority, so I think maybe I just don't get it. So maybe you guys, if you have a different opinion, please explain to me why I'm wrong below, because I don't like not being part of the majority.
I really enjoyed it, though. I was satisfied. It exceeded my expectations. I was left surprised. I liked it. I gave it a 4. I thought it was good, and I really liked it.
So what feels did you get from it? Were you scared? Were you in suspense? Was it funny?
I was in suspense, for sure. There were a couple parts that were funny. It wasn't very funny, though. I liked the idea. I was, like, living in that little cottage with her.
I do love that.
I was like, God, I want to live there.
I was so jealous. I was like, that sounds like a perfect
jealous.
Retreat.
So that was honestly one of my favorite parts of the whole book.
Honestly, and that's why we watch sitcoms, for the escapism of it. And it does have some quality escapism, because I wanted to be in her little cottage.
Definitely, and she's not on social media. She's out there. She's going for runs. She's living like a pretty perfect life. And that was what I didn't want her to lose, because I was like, this sounds amazing. That I liked that part of it a lot. I forgot what you asked.
Just what did it make you feel?
Yeah, it made me. I felt suspense. You talked a lot about the girl on the train. I haven't read Gone Girl, but I did see the movie.
Gone Girl's so good.
I liked the movie a lot. I loved the book Girl on the Train. The very first book club I tried to do,
Girl on a Train. I read that in one sitting because I could not put that book down. That's what I wanted from this book.
Bethany. So it was me and Bethany, who you know, and she read it in one night, and I was so mad at her. I was like, no, like
I couldn't put it down. Like I was like trying to stay awake, like still reading.
Yeah, but it was a great book, and this definitely gave me, not to the same degree, but it gave me those same kinds of vibes.
The problem with Hidden Pictures is there's so many times, like, you don't, like, you know who's really good at this is R.L. Stein with the Goosebumps books. He makes it impossible to put down. Yeah. This book you can easily put down.
Yeah, for sure.
You're like, what happened to the last chapter? They went swimming.
Like, we'll get there.
Okay, well, I'm good for now. I'm going to go to bed now.
Yeah. A friendly ghost out of a girl on the
Danny, I was
tattoo?
talking to Danny about this today because I felt bad. Yeah. I always feel guilty when I
ripped it apart.
I'm a jerk.
You're not a jerk. You have a strong opinion.
I was telling Danny about it, and he says we would like girl with a dragon tattoo a lot.
So I was gonna read that too. I was like, I wanted to start another book club. At work. It was at my work, and that was the first book we picked, and nobody read it.
This book club's successful.
It is. This is the third one I've tried, and we're killing it. And I'm really happy. Thank you.
I'm very happy.
Thank you for
with our
making
book
my
club.
dreams come true.
Yay! I love our book club. I wish
too.
more people were in it.
Yeah.
You guys read the books with us.
Read the books with us.
Participate with us.
Yes.
But beyond that, I'm happy that I have a buddy to read books with. So, my review of the book.
Your review. Tell us what you
I feel like I've been pretty clear about a lot of this. I think he is a very talented writer, and I want to see him do more stuff. He needs to be less precious with his characters and his story. He needs to think about the absolute worst thing that could happen and put his characters in that situation. And that's scary, because then digging them out of that is sometimes really hard.
Yeah.
And a lot of authors struggle with that. I think Stephen King is great at what's the worst thing that can happen? Boom. How do I get out of this?
Yeah.
Hand of God.
Yeah.
Like The Stand. But don't be, if I was his editor, I would be like, don't be afraid to go to the darkest place you can think of. Like, put us in peril. You know, it's okay. Like, you know,
especially when you have kids involved.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's a pretty easy thing to do to put them in a dangerous situation, and make us scared there. At least for me, like, you get a kid involved, I can be scared.
Exactly. There's just a lot here, and I just feel like it was not developed with a clear goal in mind. Like I said, I called the ending pretty early on. I was not surprised by anything. I feel like it was very surface. It was not a page turner for me. I'm in the minority here. Don't listen to me. I'm an idiot.
There are plenty of 1 and 2 star reviews, but it is overwhelmingly flat.
I go with a 5-star thing on Goodreads. I try to factor that into it. So I gave it 2 stars, which on Goodreads is not the worst. It just means it was okay. It was okay. It was mediocre. I don't think it was developed very well. I think it's a perfectly readable book. And if that's your jam, honestly, see, that's the thing, like, I wouldn't recommend it. Because I think if murder mystery is your jam, I want you to read Gone Girl. I want you to read Girl on a Train. I want you to read The Ring. If you want a murder mystery horror, read The Ring. Please read The Ring. And for horror with ghost, read something like She's a Haunting.
Yeah, I love that book.
So this isn't a book I would recommend. I think
those ghosts were scary.
Yes, I read this book in 2 days. I feel like I wish I would have read something else. I didn't really enjoy it. I wasn't super invested. I didn't hate it. But honestly, sometimes it's worse. Sometimes if I hate a book, I'm like, well, why did it get under my skin? Like, why did it made me feel something? This book, nothing to me. It nothing to me. So I think honestly that's sometimes worse than hating a book. It didn't make me feel anything. I was not in suspense. It got kind of suspenseful towards the end. It came out of nowhere. But it really, no, it didn't feel like a real world.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, unpopular opinion, guys. This is a really popular book.
I don't think your opinions, I think you're right, though. I mean, if I had just read it and, like, hadn't talked to anybody about it and hadn't heard anything, like, hadn't even read, I mean, even the reviews on Goodreads are different. The negativity is different than what you're saying about it.
Yeah, I was surprised.
But
we'll talk about that. The negative reviews on Goodreads are ridiculous.
But I do think, and that's, I think, a big part of why I continued to love it the way I did. Because I read the reviews after I finished the book, and all of their negative reviews were like, so I didn't agree. And so I was like, no, this is a great book. I had a blast reading it. I have nothing negative to say. Like, other than the addict part, I was like, I definitely didn't.
And a lot of it's the marketing, too. If this was marketed as a YA novel, it was a little hidden pictures. If it was if it was something like, you know, we were She's a Haunting, which was kind of like a little hidden gem of last year. If it was something like that, which is also a YA novel. If it was marketed as a YA novel, it didn't have the accolades of being best horror book of the year, I think I'd be more forgiving of this.
I agree with that.
But this is not an adult novel. I don't think it's really a horror novel. I do think it's basically a YA kind of spooky mystery thriller. Something more like if you've read YA books, like If I Stay. It's got supernatural elements to it, but it's very surface level. It's very cute, you know, like. You know, and that's what you want from YA, I think, is a lot of escapism. Like, I love Twilight. Do I think it's realistic? Do I think the characters are horribly deep? No. Fuck no. It's escapism. It's pure escapism. And that's the beauty of YA, is escaping into another world. And it's simpler.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know you're going to get some hard truths when you read, like, a Stephen King novel.
Yeah.
You're not getting that here, guys.
No, you're not.
So, I mostly feel a little like I was mismarketed, too.
Yeah. Could it almost be, like, more like a beach read? Like, don't,
It's more beach ready. Yeah, like, we read a lot of beach reads last year. We read This Delicious Death. What was the other one? In Nightfall. If it was something like that, and it didn't have the accolades this one's gotten, I would be so much more forgiving.
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair assessment. Yeah.
The fact that this got Best Horror Book of the Year, that's, I think, where rubs me the wrong way, because that's why we picked this, and I'm just like, no. I disagree.
Yeah.
I want to read some of Brandon's comments here. He says, I'm happy to finally be part of book clubs where the selected books are books that interest me. I couldn't get into a book club off the ground in middle school. So, yes, I love that you're in the book club. I love that you've actually read some of the books.
Yes.
And I want to talk to you guys a little bit, too, about the discussion page. I think you and I have both gotten kind of tired of just posting updates.
Yeah.
I think what I might start doing is posting more, like, questions and then posting where I'm at in the book or something I want to discuss. So maybe I want to discuss the mystery element of this and say, spoilers for chapter whatever. So, you know, if you're not there, not to read that, because I think posting the updates was more like homework.
Yeah. I think that's smart. I think that's a really good idea.
So, like, you too, like, if you're reading it and you're like, oh, you want to talk about who you guess, just put what chapter you're on so people know if they're not there yet.
Like, I'm in chapter 4, like, because with Fairy Tale, I felt that way a lot. Like, I wanted to talk about the dog. I wanted to talk about that dog more than anything in the world. And, like, I didn't know, in the discussion, I was just like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen?
Yeah, and then we can make that kind of like the title, and then, like, hopefully you'll get there, and other people will be like, let's talk about the dog.
Radar, that was her name.
And we can have, like, a whole thread on just that. We can have multiple threads within that book. I think that'll be really fun.
That's a good idea. God, you're so smart.
Oh, my goodness, you're smart. You're an accountant. I can barely do addition.
That's not going to translate very well to this.
My brain does not work as well as yours with numbers.
Well, like I said, that's not going to help us here, but it's something.
Brandon also says, at the end of the day, these are fictional works, and I want to escape into these worlds, but I feel peril for these characters. Go as dark as you can. I agree. Like, again, Twilight, like, sometimes there are books you want to buy real estate in. You want to take a vacation there. I've gone to Forks, granted, for me, it's only a 7-hour drive, because that was a book where I'm like, I want to be in this world. I just love the descriptions of the place. I love the characters. I don't care that it's realistic. It's pure escapism. The Harry Potter books are like that. Like, you want to go to Hogwarts. That sounds like the best time ever.
Yeah.
Just for children's books, like the Winnie the Pooh books, it just seems like you want to go into the 100-Acre Wood. I
just finished reading The Wind in the Willows, and it was lovely. I just want to go eat food with frogs and moles.
I love the Bridget Jones books. Bridget's never mean or has ugly thoughts like that. She's kind of jealous. She's just fucking adorable. Like, I'm just like, I want to just hang out with you for the weekend. There are books like that, and again, if this book was marketed a little bit better, instead of saying, oh, this is gonna be dark, we're gonna deal with some addiction and murder and stuff, and like you see the cover, like this is more, it's a beach read. It's escapism. It's fun.
Yeah.
So mostly, like, it's just that. Like, when I buy something that says tuna salad and we got chicken inside, I'm going to be disappointed, guys. Yeah. So, it doesn't mean that I don't like chicken salad. I do, but I bought tuna. Yeah. Okay? You see what I'm saying? Or, like, when my friend put Fruit Loops and tuna together at Christmas. Like, I didn't ask for that. I just wanted tuna. What? I know. It's disgusting.
That sounds
Becky did that.
Awful.
I know. It sounds awful. I'm going way off topic. Like films, the biggest crime a book can commit is boring. And I think ultimately that's why I struggled between a 3 and a 2-star with this. Because on a technical level, it is well written. And that is an achievement in itself. And I do think for a lot of people, this is going to be surprising people who haven't gotten a degree in literature.
Yeah.
And if it works for you, that's really exciting. And I definitely think it's going to work for a lot of people. And for those people, it's a 3-star book. If you're somebody who cannot help but look at it from a writer's point of view, be like, okay, well, why? What are they, who kind of looks behind the curtain on things. Like, this is why I didn't want to study film too much, because I like the magic of the movies. I don't want to look behind the curtain too much. I kind of like to know how they're made a little bit. But
movies are different, though, too, because there are so many people involved. There's so many, other kinds of art that go into movies.
Exactly. But with books, I am trying to write a book. So I study extensively literature and books and how we write them and how we plot them. And so for me, this one was not surprising at all. We're going to get into that.
I was surprised.
Narnia is another one. Exactly.
Yeah.
Narnia is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, C.S. Lewis's 7 books. I had that when I was a kid, and I devoured that. It's
Devoured
pure
them.
escapism.
Yep. I think I read those when I was like 19 or something, and I read them all and so fast.
I'm going to be fair here. As a beachy, kind of fun, sort of new adult YA spooky murder mystery, 3 stars. As a horror book and the horror book of the year for 2022, go F yourself, 2 stars.
Fair. I agree. I think that's fair.
All right.
Yeah.
But no shade to Jason Rekulak. He is a very talented author, and absolutely, especially because he wrote a Buffy book. Like, we're already besties, you and me. That Jason, I talk like he watches this. Nobody watches this. But I'm definitely, like, if I were to see he had a book coming out, I would definitely say to you, hey, let's consider this for Bloody Book Club.
Definitely.
So, I think what's upsetting about him winning over some of the other authors I saw, like, we have some there's some very exciting authors right now, and I feel like some really good authors got snubbed. So yeah, I don't think it was the best horror book of the year, but this had been marketed a bit differently. Good beach read.
Yeah,
I recommend it as a summer beach read.
Great time.
And Denisha, I like what you said. I like audiobooks. We need to do a book club too. A lot of these books I listen to as audiobooks. I usually do mention, I think you weren't here when I mentioned that, I did start listening to this as an audiobook, and then I realized it's better to read it on my Kindle because it has actual pictures.
I listened to a lot of books this year too. There was a couple that I was like Dark Harvest. I wish I had read instead of listened to. I didn't think
that one I read.
I thought I would have enjoyed it more if I had
usually one of us
it.
Listens to the audiobook, so I feel like we usually have input on one of the audiobooks. Good. Episode 13, absolutely listen to the audiobook. There is no better way to experience that book. That's what we did last month. So yeah, we do try to kind of include that because I think we do a lot of audiobooks.
Definitely. It's so easy, like, especially like because I do office work, you do like data entry type work, like you're like building code, you're in there, but like I'm sitting at my computer for a lot of the day, and when I'm not having to use a lot of my brain power, I'll pop on an audiobook. And it makes it easy. And
I do data annotation, so I don't need my brain at all.
Annotation? I don't feel like that's true. You use your brain for a lot of stuff.
No.
Well, anyway.
I have a lot of free brain for listening to an audiobook.
Yeah, I don't have a ton, but I do.
Every so often I catch an audiobook. One I started to listen to this year was Cutting Teeth by Chandler Baker, which I read another book of hers called Bad Wolf this year. I'm like, oh, this is too good. I want to savor her words.
Yeah.
A lot of books where I just think their writing is too good. She's a Haunting. That was one where I'm like, nope, this is too well written. I need to savor this.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I will tell you guys when I think the audiobook is better.
Yeah. Because I try to get those through like the library and stuff too. So I think we've done a pretty good mixture of physical, ebook, audiobook type situations.
Sometimes a combination's good too. Yeah. Mostly you just want to see the pictures for this one. So as long as you have a physical version of the book, I read it on my Kindle.
I did back and forth between my Kindle and the physical book.
Yeah.
So, and it was...
I listened to a lot of this on audiobook, but then I went and looked at the pictures, and then I finished it on my Kindle.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do a lot of that. Lots of that here. Okay, I'm excited. Here we go. So if you guys need to leave, we are going to talk about spoilers, because we have to talk about spoilers. So there's the spoiler sign.
Watch out.
Not Kayla, over here.
Over there.
Over by Kayla. So now we're going to talk about spoilers. All of the spoilers. The twist ending. Why we hate the negative reviews on GOODREADS. What's the twist? How do we feel about the twist?
Yes.
So, Brandon says he usually combines the audio with physical books when I read. Perfect immersion. Yeah. I think sometimes I also, again, She's a Haunting is another one where I was getting a little confused just listening to the audiobook because it was really good plotting and stuff too. So, we do try to include that.
Yeah.
I always spoil you, Gory. Oh, I do, because I'm just a great wife, and I read to you, and I also know you're not going to read the damn book. So, I ask you first. I asked you this morning. I said, you going to read this book? You said, no. So, I told you.
Here we go. Deal with it.
What's with the snapping now? Is that like my 2024 Gory? I need to stop that. I feel like it's obnoxious. I have attitude to 2024. Twist ending. Okay.
So,
Here it comes. The twist ending, guys. I feel like you're not leaving. What are we going to reveal first? So there's two twists. The twist about the kid and the twist of who's the killer. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Well, I think the twist of who's the killer. To start
Let's talk about that.
and ease into how the twist about the kid works. Okay. So, Ted's the killer.
Yeah, I figured that out like chapter 1.
I didn't. He was weird. He was a jerk, but I
like
didn't
chapter
think he
2,
was a
because
killer.
chapter 1 I think is all the testing and stuff at her
Yes.
school. But as soon as she went to go work for the parents, like, he's kind of he's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
2, it looks like an adult male, and we do
Yeah.
eventually get Adrian and some other people. It also has a modern day car.
Actually, Caroline was the killer.
Well, technically, yeah.
Yes.
But I did know that he was the guy who's in the pictures burying the woman.
body. So,
yeah.
in the very beginning of the book, they said that they'd just come back from Spain and they're looking for a babysitter, a nanny for their child before school starts for the year. Turns out they were in like upstate New York or something. They weren't in Spain.
I think they were in Jersey.
Something like that. They wanted a kid so bad.
And they're trying. They're doing the IEF.
Yes.
And
Nothing's
basically,
working.
I think the reason why some people are offended by this is because Caroline and Ted are very much your annoying liberals.
Entitled, wealthy, science, like, yes.
So they only believe in science. Like, I consider myself pretty liberal. You know, that doesn't mean there's not asshole liberals, and that's what these people are.
Yes.
So, yeah, they're those kind of people. They're like, we're only going to expose him to science. You know, they mentioned, like, they don't tell him about the tooth fairy. They just give him $5.
Yep. There's no magic in this kid's childhood.
Yeah, and they're very much, like, Caroline's a child psychologist, or...
No, she's like a doctor.
She's some kind
For
of
the
doctor
VA.
who works with veterans. That's right, with addiction.
Yeah.
But she's always throwing out pop psychology stuff.
Yeah.
You know, whenever he does anything weird, she's like, well, that's part of the normal blah, 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 pop psych this, pop psych that stuff.
Yeah. So they're living up in wherever it is that they were living, and she sees this woman with her child every day, and the child wanders away, and so Caroline goes to, like, rescue the kid.
Well, a little backstory on that. So Caroline already hates this woman.
Yes.
Because we have learned now, you gotta limit their screen time, and frickin' Teddy's got quiet time, and in the 80s, nobody cared.
Nobody cared.
So, our gal, who's with the kid, she's kind of raising her kid. The kid's playing on a phone while she paints. She loves to paint. And Caroline thinks this is insane. And she tries to tell her, you should not let that kid just be on the phone. You should be interacting with a kid, not just giving him screen time. That's audacious. Yeah. There's a language barrier there. They get into a fight.
Yes.
Later on, she sees her again, and the kid wanders off. And instead of telling the mom, hey, your kid ran away, she follows the kid.
Yes. Well, and then I don't really remember what happens after that. They fight.
So she follows the kid, and her plan was to, like, bond with the kid or something a little bit.
Yeah.
She says she never planned on killing the mom. But then the mom goes down there, and they get into a fight, and I think she falls down, and then she ends up, like, choking her and basically leaving her for dead. And, again, this is where some of the racism comes in. She thinks because this woman's a foreigner, nobody's going to give a flying shit.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. Then she gets really scared because people are looking for this woman and they're looking for the kid, which stupid Carolyn. People freak out when kids are missing.
Yeah.
But she is racist. As woke as she thinks she is, she's racist. She thinks no one's going to miss this lady.
Yeah.
So then she has her husband go out there and bury the body.
Yeah.
So that's what we were seeing on the book.
And then the kid that they have, they moved to this other place in Philadelphia. The child that Teddy is the child that they kidnapped from this woman that they killed.
So I'll tell you how I figured out who the killers were and how I figured it out so easily and why there was no surprises. One, we see on the cover of the book a modern day vehicle and a man. So already we know a man is implicated in this murder. I think the cover shows us a little too much.
It's like a Subaru Outback.
We have this
Looks
red
like
herring story of Annie, which I think is set in like the 50s or 60s. That's bullshit. That has nothing to do with anything. Annie's not even dead.
Yeah.
Annie fell in love with a black man. Her cousin or whoever was boarding her didn't like that. So when she went to live with him in the, there's segregated towns.
Yeah.
She went to go live with him in a town populated by black people.
That's right.
He
I
thought
got that part all wrong.
It was better that she was dead than she married a black man.
Mm-hmm.
So he threw pig's blood everywhere, and so there's this legend, but there's really no evidence that she died. She lived to the age of 81 and she had a child.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with the ghost or anything. It's a big red herring, but I knew that was bullshit because we have a modern day vehicle here on the cover, and we have a man. The only man in Annie's story is possibly her cousin, but I don't know. It didn't add up, and I didn't see how that would tie to modern day. So I knew even if it does tie, we need a modern day killer, somebody. So I was like, nope, Ted is the man burying the body. Now, a really cool way to have subverted reader expectations is, what if he's not burying a body? What if it just looks like that in the pictures? What if he's digging up a body? What if we find out that that happened? And like, you could have done some interesting things here.
Well, and even how he was a total creeper, there could have been a way of like, he had been like murderous or done something like not so
what
seemly,
if he
right?
dug her up and kept her in the cottage and she was like his mistress, and then eventually Caroline found her and then finished her off? Like, that's cool. Then Ted's not our killer, but he's such a creep.
He is a creep, though. And
he is
like,
a creep.
Is totally bananas at the end where he like thinks they're gonna run away together.
He's creepy to Mallory anyway, like kind of putting the moves on her and touching her inappropriately, which she doesn't even get mad about.
No.
You find out the reason she feels like she's being watched all the time is because he's got a camera in her smoke alarm.
Yeah.
And he thinks they're gonna run away together. Yeah. Like,
he's
gross, dude.
out
You're
of
like
his
50
mind.
something.
Yeah.
But he wants to take her to Washington, so you know that part was cool.
Yeah. Kind of, I guess. Considering
Washington rules.
Yeah. He wanted to take her to like Bainbridge Island or something like Woodby Island. That's right, Woodby Island.
It is beautiful there.
Yes. It is beautiful there. Yeah, she's like True Detective over here.
So Danny says, Gorin using the book cover to solve the mystery the way we use Game Case to figure out the clues on Metal Gear Solid. For me, like that, I think about that stuff pretty early on. And then Caroline, she was a little more complicated because she has moments where she does lose her temper and stuff. So I was like, well, this woman is quick-tempered. And we know something happened. Obviously, there's a connection. So Teddy's drawing pictures. And then eventually the pictures get very sophisticated because he's getting possessed by the ghost. But I noticed that there was things that were the same. The rabbits in both of them. The kids in both of them. The Annies in both of them. Anya's in both of them. So I had a feeling that Teddy was the kid. I just thought, let's not assume because the kid has long hair that it's a girl. So I thought that was Teddy, and I did think that they stole the kid.
I didn't put any of it together.
Like both
I
of them
didn't
had
put
the
any
rabbit. The rabbits were so important, and Teddy drew so many rabbits. And how Teddy was very adamant about goats when he's not exposed to goats and stuff, but there's like goats in the pictures.
Sure.
So I was like, no, Teddy is not their child, but I thought maybe Ted, the dad, took the kid, and Carolyn might be innocent because Carolyn's the only one who's a little complicated. She loses her temper, so I was like, well, maybe she's the red herring. Maybe she's innocent, but I was like, we'll wait and see on that. That one I wasn't 100% on, and I didn't realize our next twist until a little bit later.
Yeah.
Old chick detective Patrick.
You're not old.
No, it's a thing with us
okay.
and Patrick. Ever since we used to do like fight nights.
Oh, okay.
And I couldn't remember the name of the really old vampire in our vampire war. So I was like, old dude vampire. And it kind of stuck. So now it's always old dude something.
Okay. But old chick. Old chick. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. So the next twist, do we even want to talk about that? We should talk about it because it reflects a lot of the Goodreads negative reviews.
The negative reviews are really about this next twist. And I think them a bunch of flat earthers.
So Teddy is a boy throughout the whole story. Turns out Teddy's a girl. Teddy was a daughter who was kidnapped, and they didn't like physically change him into a boy, but they made him pretend to be a boy.
That people were looking for a missing little girl. And so the first thing they did was they chopped off Teddy's hair.
Yeah.
Teddy's name was Flora. They chopped off Teddy's hair, dressed him as a boy, and moved.
Yes.
So now all of a sudden no one's looking for their kid. There's this little boy.
Yeah.
So when it's revealed in the novel, the parents are like, well, their cover for it is, well, he's transgender. And, even the dad's like, there's a lot of research and stuff on this now. And Mallory's like, isn't he a little young to be transgender? So you can disagree with that. But you're disagreeing with Mallory, not the book. The book actually says that Teddy has agency and Teddy can identify how he wants.
Yes.
Mallory doesn't think necessarily that.
Yeah.
That's Mallory. Mallory's Christian. Mallory's a different person.
But also, these people kidnapped this child and
yes.
are trying to hide that fact.
Obviously,
so their motives aren't pure.
Teddy isn't transgender.
Yes.
Hello, darling.
When you're transgender, you're born into a body that is not your own. It is not, because honestly, it's kind of the opposite. Honestly, I think a lot of transgender people might relate to Teddy because I think being transgender, when you're born in the wrong body and you're dressed like a girl, you're dressed like a boy, and you know in your heart you're not a girl and you're not a boy, and everyone's telling you you're a boy or you're a girl and you're not, I think it's really sad and hard and frustrating. And Teddy gets that. Teddy was a little girl who loved being a little girl and is suddenly told, you're a little boy now. So I actually think for transgender people, this is going to be very relatable because Teddy did not choose that. They didn't even choose the name Teddy, which again, a lot of people are born in a gender that's not their own. They're given a name that belongs with that gender stereotype and it doesn't fit and it hurts. And that's what happens to Flora.
Yes.
And
so a lot of the 1 and 2 star reviews on Goodreads say it's racist and it's transphobic.
It's transphobic.
I
disagree.
Get any of that from this book.
I think the villains in this are awful people and they're using the awareness of transgender children to their advantage.
Yes.
They're using pop psych, which is what she does a lot. She uses pop psych to hide what she's doing.
Yes.
They're awful people. But I think what definitely makes this book not transphobic is we get an epilogue. And I was really curious about that. I was like, okay, what are we going to do with this kid? Because that's going to determine...
How traumatic.
It is dodgy to deal with children and transgender issues and stuff, right? So I was like, well, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
You could have something like someone mentioned Sleepaway Camp earlier. Brandon mentioned Sleepaway Camp. In Sleepaway Camp, it's a lot like that. Angela was really Peter. Peter was a little boy. Peter's sister and father are killed in a boating accident. Peter is sent to live with his aunt, who already has a little boy. And she's like, well, I already have a little boy. That won't do. You're going to be Angela now. My perfect little aunt. And Peter's like, what the fuck I am? Yeah. And poor Peter is raised as Angela as a little girl. And that's why they're so quiet. And that's why they have all these issues because, but because they spent their entire childhood that way, by the second movie, they do identify as Angela, or they get, a surgery and stuff, and it could be because of some damage from their childhood, but by the second movie, Angela has chosen that for themselves. You can, but this is a little kid.
Yeah.
And in
this
the
kid
epilogue,
he's 5.
Yeah.
She's 5.
The epilogue of this one, I like how they handled it. They said, no one's going to tell you what you are. You do what you want to do. If you want to be called Teddy, we're going to call you Teddy. You want to be called Flora, we're going to call you Flora. We're not going to tell you what to wear, what to play with, or anything.
They really just, missed their child so much and knew that what she'd been through was traumatic and awful.
The child goes to live with their biological father. Who's Hungarian.
And so they're like, we're just going to take this one day at a time. Whatever you need, we're going to give it to you, basically.
And I think that's great. They basically say, we're going to accept you either way. If you have decided that you are Teddy and you are male, then we're going to support that. Yeah. And if you're Flora, and you can also choose not to choose. Yeah. You're 5. Yeah. You get to just be a kid now.
Yeah. That's basically where they end up going.
And we see that they really quickly push, they almost cut out that part where they're Teddy because it was traumatic from their brain. They're a little girl. They're wearing dresses. And even when Mallory goes to see the kid again, they almost treat her like they don't know her. Yeah. And it makes her really sad. But she understands that they've kind of cut that part out. But then the kid gives her a big hug. And so we see that it's there. It's buried. The kid's processing. And I thought this part was handled very well.
Yeah, I agree with that. The ending was wrapped up really neatly. And I felt like they did right by Flora.
It wasn't cutesy. Look that. It's okay that it's not a perfectly happy ending and they're not best friends at the end.
Yeah, that part was really sad.
And you find out that the whole book is basically Mallory's written this book so that when Flora is old enough that she wants to understand what happened to her as a child, she has this.
Yes.
I think Flora's going to be like, why'd you go off for 2 chapters and talk about your dating Adrian? Say love
Whatever, it's fine.
If I was Flora, I'd be like, all right.
Yes.
Getting a little distracted here, Mallory.
Yeah.
Get back to the shit that happened to me.
Yeah. Right?
But I definitely do not think it is even remotely transphobic. And I'm sad that all the negative reviews of this were not about the plotting, were not about anything. They were just really stupid. Do not think this is a transphobic book.
No.
If anything, like I said, I think if you are a transgender person,
you might find some identifying
Flora was forced to go through might be relatable to you.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And the confusion and stuff. So,
yeah. Well, yeah, I liked it.
as far as figuring out that, I did figure that out. There is a part in the book. So I figured out that the kid was definitely Teddy. I just thought that they're trying to make us assume. I thought it was playing off of gender norms. We typically see long-haired children, we think girl. I thought, well, what if this isn't a girl? What if it's a boy with long hair?
Yeah.
That's okay. I do think some of the gender ideas in this are a little outdated. Like, they try to tell us that, well, that's why Teddy always wants to wear the purple shirt. Because girls like purple. Like, you need to develop that a little bit more, buddy. And that's why Teddy doesn't want to play Micro Machines, because girls don't like Micro Machines. I'm like,
no.
You need to develop, like, I think it would be good if they showed that character, Teddy, Flora, outright was rejecting anything that they considered to be male.
Yeah.
And insisting they wanted to do girl stuff. Because that's them basically trying to take control of their identity.
Yeah, it kind of felt like Teddy didn't have any control and wasn't worried about having any control. Like, there's that one part where they ask Mallory about her girl parts, and it was a weird conversation, and Mallory was like, we're not gonna do that right now.
Yeah, it's like, where do your boobs come from?
But there's
and when you look down, do you see your girl parts and stuff?
There's no pushback on Teddy's part about anything.
And that's the thing, I think Teddy would be a lot more psychologically damaged.
Oh, 100%.
A lot more. Teddy seems like a well-adjusted kid throughout the whole book.
Yeah.
I think that part could have been done better. Because obviously this kid's going to have some flippin' trauma, not just being haunted by a ghost.
Yeah.
But what they're forced to go through is really traumatic. And I think you could have done the purple and the rejecting Micro Machines if they said, like, Teddy really gravitates more to, like, girl things, and be like, we encourage that. We encourage, non-gender norms in this household. Teddy has Barbies. We think that that sounds like such a liberal thing to say.
Yeah,
and then you find out later on, like, they're not going against the grain. They are just
reaffirming those stereotypes.
That would have been clever. Like, I feel like a good editor could have helped shape this so much better.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, no, I wasn't surprised because I did think Teddy was the kid. I didn't realize Teddy was born female, or is female, since that's how Teddy, Flora identifies, until they eventually do a seance. And they realize the final word, when they finally decipher, which does take a while, it's like, beware thief, which I was like, okay, yeah, we're confirming what I think. The kid was stolen. This is not their kid. I'm on board. And then it said Flora. And I was like, that's the kid's name. It's a girl.
I didn't put any of it together. I didn't put any of it together. I was bamboozled.
I'm glad you were bamboozled.
I was bamboozled.
It's fun to be bamboozled.
Yeah, it was. It was really fun.
What's frustrating is sometimes I read books where I do feel like I called it pretty early on. But what I like is that the author is doing such a good job that I'm like, maybe I am wrong.
Yeah.
And this book, I was pretty freaking certain.
You were. No, it was pretty clear in hindsight. It was all pretty clear. But I didn't
like. I think a lot of people called the killer in the movie that came out recently Thanksgiving. I called that like from the beginning.
Yeah.
But I still feel like throughout the movie I was like, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's this person, and that's what's really fun is when you're right, but they make you doubt yourself. Like, I didn't doubt myself. I was like, no, this is what's going on.
Pretty clear. It was pretty clear.
I think the only thing that was a little surprising was that Carolyn was part of it, but I did suspect she might be.
She was a little batty.
Yeah, I just thought it's possible she's innocent.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. So there we go. That was Hidden Pictures.
Teddy was raised by Aunt Martha from Sleep That We Can't. Have you seen Sleep That We Can't?
I haven't, no.
my god, we need to watch that. Your reaction would be everything.
Would it?
Yeah.
When was it made?
The 80s.
80s? Okay, I love
So
it.
great. Oh my god, there's so many wonderful things, like 2 short shorts, and oh my god,
I love it.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's got such a big twist ending.
Fun. Maybe we should
It's
add
so
it.
cheesy. We should start a thing of movies Kayla hasn't seen for watch party.
For watch party.
Try to do like one a month.
Yeah.
Now I want Sleep Week for next month.
do
Like
it.
the ending, I gotta see your reaction.
Okay.
I got it.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, we'll do it.
I also love
do
that
it.
Connie Clary has entered the chat. Welcome.
Welcome.
Danny says 80s, 90s marketing told me boy toys ruled. And that's the thing, like that's what I kind of pushed back on with the gender norms, being that I was someone who had little brothers, so I did like Barbies and My Little Pony, but I also loved Ninja Turtles and I did love Micro Machines, and so I think a lot of that was just marketing for toys. Like we watched a documentary recently where they decided like they couldn't figure out where to put video games. Like, is it a boy thing or a girl thing? And because there's a boy aisle and a girl aisle, they decided video games were a boy thing.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't really make any flipping sense. There's tons of video games that girls love too.
Oh yeah.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
But yeah, he could have played with this stuff some more. Like that's I think what's frustrating with this book is I wish I was. That sounds so arrogant. But I do wish I was the editor of this, because I would have been like, there's some exciting stuff here. Like, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? Let's do this more. And I feel like, he, just like push it a little bit more. I feel like he just needs a little bit of a push because he's got the writing talent, you know? I think this could have been really special. As it is, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's not a bad book. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's great.
Have I read Catriona Ward's books? I have not. They had one that came out last year that Stephen
Hello,
King
darling.
liked, so it's on my to-read list. Last House on Needle Street's twist was wow. I do love a good twist. Have not yet. Connie Nunn! Nunchuck!
I knew her!
Me too!
How crazy!
She was on my roller derby team.
She's my mother-in-law.
That's way more important. That's her mother-in-law.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Connie, I think you would have a good time with this book. We just spoiled it, but
I feel like if you're looking for a beach read, like ignore the cover. Like the cover sucks. If you're looking for a beach read that's kind of fun, a little bit of escapism, kind of an easy breezy murder mystery, something that's not super in depth.
Yeah.
This is the way to go.
This is the way to go. Yeah, it's no Girl on a Train, but
no,
it's fun. It's a good time.
This is Girl in a Cottage.
Yeah,
that's what it should have been called. Girl in a Cottage.
It was such a cute little cottage.
I know. I wanted the cottage so bad.
I did too.
I've seen ones like that because I've looked in. We live in Washington State.
Yeah.
And there are little cottages you can rent for like a writer's retreat. Like I was so jealous. I was like, I want that cottage.
She's just like making pasta for herself.
I know. And it's so
God.
cute. She's got the mini oven. It's all one room. And like I actually had a friend who lived like that when we were really young. And she rented like a little cottage behind someone's house. But everything was just like small and cute. And
there's a house down the street from mine that has like a little mother-in-law studio too. And I'm like, God, it's so cute. God, it's like a she shed.
It has this kind of cute, like small town, like it's a little bit of escapism. I don't think, I don't think I honestly, Danny, it doesn't deserve to even be called heroine detective.
No.
Our character in Girl on the Train gets so much darker, and she's an alcoholic. I don't think that's even as scary as heroin.
No, that girl's just drinking cans of gin.
And she's blacking out, and all of a sudden, this girl's been on heroin. And yeah, like it's like it ain't no thing. Hey, Connie subscribed to the channel. Thank you, Nunchuck. I love Nunchuck. Nunchuck was like my favorite teammate when we used
She's
to
a
play.
big horror fanatic. I've been trying to get her to read Fairy Tale for a long time.
I think Connie would like that.
I think she would too. It's a really good book. It's a really good.
I love it. I obviously made I was not shy about telling my teammates that I like her.
Yeah.
Like, they know.
Yeah.
So, we talked about horror movies quite a bit.
all the time.
Miss Henny's College from Matilda. Yeah, like, it's got that kind of vibe.
It's so cute.
Yeah, change up the marketing and stuff, and I think I would have liked this a lot more. She's got a great horror figure collection.
She does. She really does.
So let's talk about what's next. Aw, Connie, we love you.
We love you.
What's next? So we've got our list for the year.
Yes, we do.
We haven't posted it yet because there are a couple months, like one of them you guys picked.
Yes.
So if you follow the link below and join us on Goodreads, post on there what you want us to read. It could be something that you love, that you want other people to experience, or you know, like Brandon mentioned earlier, something that's been on your to read list, and if you had people to read it with, it might encourage you.
Absolutely. Yes.
These are great. So post them on there, and then we're going to do a poll, and it'll probably be our October book, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that'd be fun. October, November, something like that.
October or November will be the you know, you guys pick book.
Yeah.
And then when we get all the suggestions, so you guys have some time.
Yeah.
You guys will vote on a poll, and that will be the book we pick.
So we picked our book for January, and I think we picked it after our last stream, so I don't think anybody knows what we're reading next.
Yeah, I don't think anyone does know. I didn't even remember. I had to ask you.
Yes, our book that we're reading right now is called The New One, and
by
it's
Evie Green.
Evie Green. It was released in March of last year, and it's almost kind of like a sci-fi.
Yeah, it is actually. It's like a sci-fi horror, which we haven't done a lot of that.
No, I'm stoked for it. I'm a little ways into it. I'm intrigued to see where it goes.
How far are you into it?
16%.
That's good.
Yes.
I'm only like 11% in.
Yeah.
So we're still catching up to the basic numbers. What's cool about this one is there's a lot of like world building and stuff. So do you want to tell them what it's about?
It is about a couple whose daughter ends up in a...
And they're English.
They're English, yes. Their daughter ends up in an accident. She's in a coma, and they're offered the opportunity to have...
And their daughter was a little shit.
Oh, yeah. She's a monster.
She's
monster.
a jerk. She hates that they live in... they basically live that van life, and she fucking hates it.
She hates it. So far, this book is full of flawed characters.
I love it.
Everybody sucks. But they're offered this opportunity for her to be like essentially cloned. But there's like an AI
she's
element
like
too.
in a vegetative state.
Yeah.
She's in a coma. She could wake up, but the longer she's in a coma, the less likely she's going to regain her full brain functionality.
Yeah. So
this is cool what they do.
They get this opportunity for her to be cloned. And that's as far as I know.
It's a little more complicated. So she's a cyborg.
Yeah.
So
there's
they're
like an
using
AI.
AI technology, which reminds me a little bit. Do you watch Black Mirror?
No, I can't.
Black Mirror
it's too sad. It's too scary.
So Black Mirror has an episode. Shit, I can't remember the name of it. But you guys, if you watch Black Mirror, know where a woman played by Haley Atwell, her husband dies, and she gets kind of a cyborg that's from his social media stuff and knows all of his memories. That's kind of what this is. They're basically saying from her living tissue, we're going to build a thing that's going to be part cyborg, you know, but it's going to have her living tissue look exactly like her, and it's going to we're going to use AI so that it behaves kind of like her. But I don't know. I haven't gotten so far to know what it looks like, but the back of the book description is really exciting. Yeah. So when they get the back of the book tells us that this new kid, which they agree to this because they don't have a lot of money, and their child is going to be taken off of life support after the insurance runs out. So she has to take this because these people are offering not only to give them this cyborg, but they're also offering to give their daughter, their actual daughter, the best care available. They have to move to Switzerland. She's going to get the best care available. And they're like, hopefully she wakes up. And they're even saying, hey, think of this more as like a twin for her. And hey, if she wakes up, we'll just get rid of it. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, they have like a code word and she'll go away.
So the back of the book tells us that, you know, while their daughter Scarlett was a troublemaker, this new clone is like the perfect daughter. And the twist is going to be, it doesn't tell us what happens, but it tells us that Scarlett will wake up.
Yeah, it says, Tamsin and Ed want for nothing, and the AI replacement Sophie makes it feel like having their daughter back, except without all the bad parts. Sophie is engaged, happy, and actually wants to spend time with her parents. But things take a turn for the worse when Scarlett makes a very real recovery, and the family discovers that the forces behind their new life are darker than they could have ever imagined.
So I'm really excited for this because it's such a unique premise. I like that they did tell us that the daughter is going to wake up because I think she's going to be like, what the actual fuck?
Yeah.
I'm curious, is the cyborg going to attack her? Is she going to attack the cyborg?
What's going to happen?
Can they live in harmony? Like, what's going to happen? I love premises like this where I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna end.
Yeah.
So, and I did see, I kind of skimmed, like, I took a little peek on Goodreads. A lot of people were like, I didn't see that coming. So,
cool.
This is an exciting story. I'm really glad that we picked this. I've already started reading it. It's so far very easy to read.
Yeah.
Please read with us.
Yeah.
And do remember, the link is in the description below for the Amazon. You can get it on Kindle. You can get it at all your major book retailers, Barnes & Noble, Amazon. But also remember, your library is a resource. Your library probably has this. And you may not know that things like Udemy.
Yeah.
Not Udemy. What's the name of the library one?
Oh, Hoopla and Libby.
Hoopla and Libby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Udemy's a different thing.
Isn't that like a university kind of thing?
It's online classes.
Yes.
But Hoopla and Libby offer you digital copies and audiobooks for free from your local library. Yeah. And you can lend people books through Amazon and stuff. So if it's just a matter of you can't find the book, please DM me.
Yeah.
I will make sure you have the book.
Yeah.
I want you guys to read with us. Yeah. And I think this is going to be a really fun one.
I utilized the library a lot this last year. Like, I used the heck out of the library.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
If you just have a library card from your local library, you can sign up for Hoopla or Libby, and you can have them instantly added to your Kindle. You can have books mailed to you, physical books, audiobooks. Yeah. It's a great resource. Also, you'd be surprised by the deals on Amazon Kindle sometimes. Yeah. I've gotten a lot of books for like 99 cents. I've even bought books for 99 cents that I already had the physical copy of just because, sometimes it's nice to have my Kindle too.
It's so easy to read on your Kindle. I read a lot on my Kindle because, like, you can lay in bed and you just bloop, bloop.
If you're married and you share a bed with your partner, it's like
you don't have to have a light.
You can have it down. Yeah. Like, I have the paper one, so it doesn't emit that much light. So I don't disturb my husband. I do have to read him his story first.
Yes.
But then I can read my own damn book.
Absolutely. I love it.
You know what's really creepy? I think I've discovered a new psychological thing. Because I'll read to Danny, and sometimes he'll be like, one more chapter, but I will realize I've read a whole chapter out loud.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. Like, I'm mentally half asleep.
You're like, what is going on?
But I physically am holding the book and reading it. I don't even remember closing the book.
And you do, like, voices and stuff, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, you're, like, really in it. But you, like, go somewhere else.
Danny likes the voices.
Yeah, you gotta.
Danny is the best. Even if it's, like, a male narrator, he still, like, thinks that I'm the best narrator.
You are.
I am not.
Yeah. I love it.
My husband's extremely biased.
Yeah. Well, he should be. He should be. You're pretty great.
You're wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, we had a whole conversation earlier about audiobooks, Connie. Like, we do a pretty good mixture.
Audiobooks are wonderful. I really hate that a lot of people don't consider it reading. It is.
It is reading.
And I think so many books, I might add that to Goodreads. There's so many books that I think the audiobook is the way to experience that.
Yeah.
Episode 13 that we read last year, De-Evolution, World War Z. There are some books where that is the best experience of that book.
I did Meddling Kids on audiobook, and I felt like it made it more enjoyable than actually physically reading. I hated that book. But if I was going to have to read it, audiobook was the way to go.
You know what, Brandon? You're encouraging me. I've been wanting to do a series on this channel with a new character, Story Gory, who reads you creepy children's books. I did a little bit of that on Horror Addicts. So yeah, I will read you creepy children's books soon.
Story Gory? That's so cute.
She's just like regular Gory, but she's got like pigtails.
Oh my god.
She's so cute.
I love it. You're going to be like Miss Rachel of horror.
Yeah, yes. I was kind of inspired because there's this really great video of you like Guar, the metal band, thrash metal band. He reads Goodnight Moon, and it's so funny.
Cute.
So it's a kid's book. Anyway, so I've got some. I've got like, I really want to eat a child, a book about an alligator. Okay. I've got this Buffy book. I've got a whole bunch of life saved up. So
cute.
Brandon, you will hear my reading voice. It's happening this year. This year, I apologize. I've talked about this a lot on the channel. I deal with a lot of like social anxiety and other kind of anxiety things, and kind of when I get overwhelmed, my response is I just kind of shut down and go into my little hermit crab hole, and I'm trying to work on it, and that's why there's sometimes massive hiatuses on this channel. So this year I'm going to push through that because I do love the support I get from you guys, and I have real friendships with people through the horror community here on YouTube. Like sometimes it weirds me out when I think about people like Brandon, where I'm like, I have never met Brandon in person, but it feels like I have because we've hung out so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, I wanna kind of work on this stuff, but you know, it's
life is hard.
we all
man.
deal with mental health issues. That's kind of
Yeah.
mine, and that's something I'm working on. So I really appreciate you guys who have stuck with me through, you know, hiatuses where I don't post anything for months, and you know, believe in me and are still there for me when I come back.
Keep coming back.
It means a lot to me.
We're here for you.
And you, like, even when I have hiatuses, we still have book clubs. So that's awesome. So.
Exactly. It's going to keep you on
Yes.
track. Because this is important to me, too. Like, I have always wanted to be a part of a book club. I love reading books. And I've even struggled reading books. Like, I had to take a special class for my reading comprehension when I was in middle school. Because, like, I would devour a book so quickly. And then I would have to take a test on it. I was like, I can't tell you anything that happened. But this is really fun and really important to me, too. And, like, social media is such a big thing, and like I'm not on there very often. I hate showing my face on.
Yeah, people are always
this.
asking for your social media, and you don't have
I'm
any.
not. I have it, but I don't do anything. Like I literally don't do anything on there.
And I think that's okay.
It's just I don't know. There's a
I
terrifying
honestly,
element to
I'm
it.
trying to work past it, but like Instagram, like I'm just like I don't want to post a picture, and I liked Twitter, and then I got taken over by Elon Musk.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I'm working on it, guys.
But this is fun. This is a
I
fun
love
way.
YouTube. YouTube's great.
Yeah, this is a fun way to do it because it's like it's just a conversation and
Yeah, and I think it encourages us to, because I think what's wonderful about books, like great books, make you want to talk about them. You know, great books, you're just like, did anybody else read this? Especially when a book perplexes you. Like, there's a lot of books where afterwards I'm just like, well, what did that mean? And it's not like there's one answer, and it's an answer you discover for yourself, and those are so fun.
Well, like the last book that we read when we got into like the spoiler talk about it, that was really fun. Like that was a blast for me because I was like, I didn't get it, and then we got into some like really cool ideas about the afterlife.
And I feel like you and I a lot of times come at books from different perspectives. I mean, obviously you are a number brain type person, and I am a literary brain type person. So we come at books from different angles, and I feel like a lot of times you help me to appreciate things that maybe I wouldn't have appreciated before, or help me, you know, to like maybe see some of the flaws in something that I thought was really fun.
I think you help me to understand things a little more critically than just like, oh, that was fun to read. Like, because that's really all I want to do. I was like, that was great. There's very few things that I like actually don't like. TV, movies, like I see it. It's an art. Somebody put a lot of time into it. So I'm just like, yeah, I couldn't do it. So that's pretty cool.
What books are you most looking forward to this year? I'll tell you guys right now.
Yeah.
My most anticipated book of this year, because my favorite book of last year was, oh my god, I'm drawing a total blank. Knight's
Edge.
Knight's Edge. Knight's Edge was so good, and it's going to get like a TV series. But the sequel to that, First Light, is my most anticipated book of the year. I need that in my hands.
That one's going to be a fun one.
It was so good. Like, very rarely does a book just wreck you in all the right ways. And I don't know about for you, but Knight's Edge wrecked me. And because
it was heavy.
Some of the things it dealt with, which are really heavy, I was just like, Kayla needs to read this.
Yeah, that was a good one. I'm excited for that one. I'm also excited for the Sorceress Comes to Call book that we have on our list by T. Kingfisher.
Yeah, I read a book by T. Kingfisher last year. House of Good Bones was one of my favorite books of last year. What I didn't expect is that she was so funny. She is so funny. And so I want to read more of her books because I'm just in love with her now. I didn't realize that she's also Ursula Le Guin, who wrote the Dragon Breath series. So she uses a different name for her adult series. But she's really funny, and I also love that she loves bugs and nature. That's why she picked the name T. Kingfisher, because I am somebody who loves bugs.
Yeah. I love it. That's really exciting. I'm excited for that book. I don't know. I'm excited for all of them. I don't think I don't even remember what half of them were about,
really
to be
good
honest.
Ones this year, and there's some really exciting authors that are really active right now with producing new books. Chuck Kingle is following Camp Damascus from Last Steer with Bury Your Gaze this year.
Yeah.
A lot of great authors. I am always excited when Riley Sager comes out. Riley Sager, now there's someone who knows how to do a murder mystery.
Okay. I've seen some of her books.
It's a he.
I've seen some
If
of his
you
books.
want a great murder mystery, one I read last year that was really fun and had gothic vibes was God damn it, why am I drawing such a blank today? I'm gonna go find it.
It's Ursula Vernon.
Ursula Vernon.
Vernon.
There you go.
Yeah, I was like Ursula Le Guin. I thought
Oh,
she
I'm
died.
missing. I'm mixing that up with a different
okay.
author.
Yeah.
Thank you for double checking.
You're
that.
welcome.
So Riley Sager. The only one left from last year was A Good Murder Mystery.
Okay.
That one was batshit crazy, and I had zero fucking idea what was going on. So, yes.
That's the one that you said
Ursula
was
Vernon.
kind of like the Lizzie Borden kind of a situation.
Yeah, it's a little bit
Yeah.
like Lizzie Borden-ish. That one, it's essentially about a kind of like this. A woman is going to be the nurse, but instead of for a child, it's for an older person who is kind of their town's Lizzie Borden. There's a rumor that, a legend that she killed her parents and her sister.
Yeah.
And they never had enough evidence to convict, so she lives in this big mansion on the hill, and she's like, oh crap, but she has had a problem at her last job, so nobody else will hire her. She has to take this in this big gothic mansion, secluded out in the middle of nowhere. And the woman is nonverbal, but she starts typing to her and basically says, hey, I'm ready to tell you what really happened. And it's so good.
That's fun. I think I have that one on my Kindle, but I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, What Moves the Dead I've heard is really good. It's kind of a retelling of House of Usher by T. Kingfisher.
Ooh.
I need to read that because the sequel to that comes out this year. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
So a lot of exciting things. So if you want to see our full list, again, Goodreads is awesome. You can get the mobile app. You can do it on the lines on the website.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So
Come
all
and
the
join
stuff.
us. Come read these books with us. I think this one that we're reading right now, the new one, is that what it's called? The new one?
Yes.
Yes.
That's so confusing.
If I'm stoked about it. I'm having a really good time reading it. I think it'll be pretty simple to breeze through. If you haven't even started it yet, if you've started now, you can definitely be done by the end of the month.
Ursula Le Guin, she's the one who wrote The Ones Who Walk Away from Amalis. Yeah. I got the names mixed up. Ursula Vernon. Ursula Vernon wrote the Dragon Breath series that my son used to love.
Fun.
Yes, there is a sequel coming. T. Kingfisher is just a delight. She's one of those authors where you're like, I need a cup of tea with you, lady. Like, you're awesome. So I love her personality so much. She writes very real, fun, relatable characters. Like, I've not wanted to, even just her characters, I'm just like, let's have a cup of tea. Like, not since Bridget Jones have I wanted to hang out with a character, so much.
Fun. I'm excited for that one. I think that's the one I'm
House of the Good Bones
most
is great.
excited
And I
about.
keep recommending books that, like,
I'll
I'm
read
going
that
on
one
topic.
too. I'll read that too.
So good. So reading challenges for this year.
Like our goals?
Yes.
Okay, my goal this year is less than last year. Last year my goal was 20 books. I read 24. My goal this year is 15.
But you have a good reason.
But I have a good reason. It's because I'm finishing my degree. And I'm going to be reading a lot of accounting and statistics books. So
She needs this, guys. She needs this for the fun reading.
I do. So I'm going to read our 12, and then I'll probably sprinkle a couple more in there. Like, I'm trying to get through The Hobbit. I was going to be really ambitious and try to finish Dune.
I need to read that. And you know what's fun about Dune? The author, Frank Herbert, is a Washingtonian.
That's true, yes. So I was going to try to finish Dune before the second half of the movie came out. It's not going to happen. I'll read it sometime in my lifetime, but I don't think it's going to be this year.
I'm not a big sci-fi person, but I want to read it just because I pretty much, you tell me someone's from Washington, I'm going to read it.
I love, like, a big world building story. Like, I love The Lord of the Rings. I haven't finished it. I
need to read those too.
So The Hobbit's quick. It's really easy, really fun. The trilogy gets a little heavier, but that's my goal, is because I finished all those C.S. Lewis
Andy
books.
Serkis, who plays
Gollum.
He narrates his books.
I have 3 of the 4. The only one I don't
have
that
them
he
on
did
audiobook, but I haven't read them
yeah,
yet.
I just don't have the Return of the
I'm
King.
trying to expand my genres. I tend to read a lot of horror, hence why we have a horror book club.
Here we are.
But I do want to expand a little bit more.
Yeah.
And classic lit is great too. So yeah. Also, if you just want book recommendations, find me on Goodreads. I'm always excited to recommend books.
Please toss them out. I love hearing what other people love to read. And I also love classic literature. Like, that's one of my favorite genres to go to. Like, I read Christmas Carol last year. I read Dracula a couple years ago, and I loved it. I read a bunch of C.S. Lewis last year. I
try to catch a lot of the big classics. Because that is important to me. Like, they've stood the test of time for a reason. Like, I need to read more Jane Austen. And I've never read Wuthering Heights.
I haven't either. I saw that you read The Beach.
I read that a long time ago.
Okay. I was like, if you just read that, that's such a good book. Like, I love that book.
It is. I actually read that. My mom gave it to me a long time ago, and I was so surprised because the author was like 21 at the time he wrote it. He's so young.
Yeah.
So good.
But he's like done a bunch of movies and stuff now. Like, he's a big deal.
Yeah, he has. Alex Garland?
Yeah, Alex Garland.
Yeah, that was like his... I remember when my mom let me the book, I was like, wow, how are you so smart when you're so young?
Yeah.
That was when I saw a friend rated it recently. I'm like, wait, I've read that.
Yeah.
So I rated it.
Mummy B Movie said Game of Thrones on audiobook. I actually...
haven't seen the show or read the book.
I watched the show. I don't think I can ever go back to it again.
They're so big.
Super heavy, but I do want to read the books. I also want to read the Wheel of Time series.
If Huckleberry Finn's on your TV, and I did read Huckleberry Finn in school, but it's really funny to listen to the audiobook narrated by Elijah Wood.
Oh,
I highly recommend that, especially because there's
the N word,
a lot, and he does it as gracefully as one can.
Weird. Elijah Wood.
Wood. My reading challenge for this year, originally I was going to do 50 because I read 52 books last year. Last year I kept it very conservative. I think I wanted to read like 24 books. I wanted to read 2 books a month. Mm-hmm. But I ended up reading 52 books. I thought, well, it should be a challenge. I know I can read 50 books. Mm-hmm. But ever since I've read On Writing by Stephen King, this is really hard. I've tried this multiple times and failed. Stephen King tries to read 75 books a year. Yeah. I have tried that challenge multiple times and failed. I'm going to try it this year.
I think you can do it this year.
I hope so.
I believe in you.
I think I've only completed it one time.
Yeah.
It's a hard challenge to do. You need to read about like 5 or 6 books a month.
That's a lot. But you can do it.
I also read a lot of novellas. I read a lot of graphic novels. I think if you mix it up, Stephen King's probably amazing in reading like 600-page books.
Yeah, well, good for him.
You know, we're not all Stephen King, okay? Okay?
No, we're not.
Jesus.
So you're going to read 75 books, and I'm going to read 15, and it's going to be great.
Our minds are going to be so full of the knowledge and the literature.
15. I mean, I was really proud.
Oh, and classic literature I really love. I think my favorite classic literature book, and it's really funny because I read this to my son when he was like a toddler, is Jane Eyre. It's so good. It stands the test of time.
Crazy.
It's one of my favorite classic books.
I know. I tried to read like...
when my son was little, I was reading that for school. I had a Victorian literature class. And then for fun, I was reading Harry Potter. And I went back and forth. And I was reading him Harry Potter on book 6. And he's like, no, I want to read the book about the sad girl again. I'm like, oh, Jane Eyre. Let's go back. He loved that.
Oh, my goodness. I tried to read, like, Anna Karenina a few years ago.
That's a hard one.
Oh, man. I think I got, like, halfway through. And I was like, I can't do this. It's too sad. Like, it's so depressing.
I know our stream's already gone on a little bit longer, but just for fun. Who cares? What was your favorite book, not even of 2024, but your favorite book you read last year?
My favorite book that I read last year...
Doesn't have to be a new release, just the one that
I want to say the one I finally finished, That Hideous Strength by C.S. Lewis.
That was your favorite?
It was really good.
What's it about?
So they're all about, like, Christianity and God and, like, what it means to be human.
My mind was so blown when I found out that Aslan was, like, Jesus lion.
Really? Because it's pretty obvious.
I read those books when I was, like, really young.
So, it got into some, like, really dark places, and it was really poetic, and, like, I will probably read it maybe one more time in my life. I read the first 2 books previously, and they're a breeze to get through, but is really heavy and very philosophical.
About?
Well,
is it philosophy?
It's very, yes. So in the first couple books, the main character, Ransom, he gets shipped off to Mars and Venus, and it's all about, like, the original sin of our planet. Like, our planet is ruled by this being who messed up, kind of, and, like, we have this darkness to us that the other planets don't. So it's like this sci-fi religion mishmash, and in this third book it's a little more, it's like heavier, it's a little more on the political, like they're actually fighting this war between good and evil, and Merlin gets involved. They, like, resurrect him from the dead. It's crazy, and it's a little scary. Like, there's some pretty scary parts, especially in the second book, Paralandra. There's, like, this character who gets like kind of taken over by, like, evil, and he's called, like, a knot man. It's very scary.
That sounds scary.
It's very scary. But
I love C.S. Lewis. I might have to check that out.
You should read them.
My favorite book of last year, it's really funny because my younger brother, Dustin, does Sigma. He's in the chat a lot. He doesn't read very much. So when he recommends a book, it's usually really good. But he and I are very different. I am a horror gal, and he is very much a sci-fi boy. So I'm like, we'll see. But he has been for the longest time, like, you know, and we both loved Ready Player One. But for the longest time, he's like, you need to read Project Hail Mary. And I'm like, I read The Martian. It was okay. I wasn't super impressed. I mean, I wasn't super impressed by The Martian. Everyone flipped out over it. I was like, it was fine. It's not my thing. And I read Project Hail Mary, and like suspense and tears and warm fuzzies. And I quote that book all the time. And I keep telling my husband and my son they need it. Like, that book has stuck with me more than anything else I read that last year. And just about like the power of friendship and persevering when like, as far as an all is lost, like where you're like, how are you going to get out of this? Like, he does a great job with that in his books. Even The Martian, which I thought was just kind of okay. You're just like, honey, how are you going to get home? But in this one, you're just like,
I'm pretty sure we have a copy of that one, and that's when I wanna. I'll read that one for sure.
My mom says she recommended that book to him. She loves Rocky, and it is going to be a movie starring Ryan Gosling.
Cool. I love Ryan
Gosling. So I saw that the director made a joke that Emma Stone is going to be Rocky. Essentially, the basic plot of it, without spoiling too much for you, it's a little bit of a mystery, but not like a murder mystery. It's just a mystery where this man wakes up in 0G, hooked up to all this stuff, and he's like, has no memory of who he is or how he got there. And so a lot of it is him piecing together, where the fudge is he? And eventually, yes, you can see from the cover, he is in outer space. He doesn't know what his mission is, who he is. His other people on the ship are dead.
Crazy.
He doesn't know what he's supposed to be doing, but he is extremely smart. He was a science teacher on Earth, and gradually the story is revealed, and now he is stuck all alone in the middle of space. And a minor spoiler, but the reason why you want to read this is somebody else is stuck out alone in the middle of space. An alien creature who might just be one of my favorite characters of all time, Rocky. And I just adore Rocky. I adore their friendship. As far as buddy, I don't know if there's buddy space movies, but their friendship, honestly, like, one of my favorite friendships of all time in literature.
I'll read that one for sure. I'll try to read that
one. And honestly, that's one I recommend on audiobook, simply because Rocky is an alien creature. He looks a little bit like a spider. He has a lot of legs. Just so, I love Rocky, especially someone who loves spiders. Yeah. But Rocky's language is kind of, to us, it sounded like music. And so he gradually learns how to speak to Rocky, and Rocky, they kind of learned how to understand each other. And so if you listen to the audiobook, you can hear what it sounds like.
That's cool.
And then when he understands it, then you can hear it in regular language. Also, the narrator is fantastic. Ray Porter, as my mom mentioned. He's one of the best narrators on the block. He's so good. But yeah, hearing the language, I did read like in the actual book afterwards, and you just get musical notes, and it doesn't have the same... It's just so good, too, especially when you get to the end and you're like, gosh, like, you look at where you've been to where you are, you feel like you've been on this journey. That, for me, is a book that changed me. Like, books that you're just like, it's just so good. Yeah. So good.
Cool. I'll read that one. I'll try to read that one this year, too.
I really want my son to read it, though, just because it's so good. But
Project Hail Mary. Yeah, because Doug really loved The Martian.
And, I actually love that you mentioned that, Brandon. You said, when I think of Rocky, I think of Sly in Space. It's actually a joke in this. So one of the things I do love about that author is he's really funny. So he has to be able to call Rocky something. Obviously, they're speaking different languages here. He calls Rocky because Rocky has multiple legs. I think he has, like, I don't remember how many legs he has. But he looks kind of like a rock formed spider.
Okay.
So he calls him Rocky because his skin, the texture of it is like rock. And they're really interesting species. Like, they don't really see like we do. Like, he finds it really confusing that we can see all this stuff, but they have exceptional hearing, and they feel like vibrations and stuff like spiders do. But he calls him Rocky because he looks like he's made of rock. He has 5 legs. Thank you, Mother. But later on, it's so cute. And I just love how his world building. Those creatures are extremely vulnerable when they sleep. And so he's like, I sleep, you observe. And the guy's like, what the fuck? Ryland Grace is just like, I don't get it. But that's extremely dangerous on their planet. And Rocky has a mate, And that's one of the ways you show love, is you watch somebody, make sure they're safe while they're sleeping.
That's so sweet.
Because they don't wake up. So
Yeah.
you're vulnerable. And Rocky talks a lot about his mate, his partner. And Ryland, the human character, refers to her as Adrian, which I think is really cute.
That's really cute.
So,
I love that.
it's really cute. Rocky doesn't
Yeah.
get the joke, but we get the joke. So the Sly and Space thing, there you go.
Yeah.
Mom, you should see Gory's spider collection. Gory has a big spider collection.
Connie hates spiders.
Okay, I'm not going to show her
Hates
then.
spiders.
Why would I do that?
Yeah, don't
But
do
I do
it.
have 8 spiders in this room
Yeah.
right now that I know of. For some reason, this room attracts spiders. You would think, since there's 3 tarantulas in here and 5 jumping spiders, but no, I find spiders in here all the time.
I love it.
I
love these
found
spiders. That one's so cute.
A wolf spider in here. I found yellow sack spider in here. I found a jumping spider. I'm like, why are you in here?
They know that this is the place to hang out.
I guess.
Yeah, I love it.
None of them are out right now.
This one is.
Well, the jumping spiders are.
That one.
They're so cute.
They're so cute. Okay.
They're right behind Kayla.
Yeah, right
That's
here.
where the 3 of the jumping spiders
There's that
are.
one. There's that
But
one.
okay, you want to see something really cute? Okay, this, Connie, you're not afraid of this. Look at Peaches in her cute little Nintendo house. It's the
It's
cutest
so
thing.
cute.
She's up here and she's just the cutest little spider. See, that's not
love
scary.
it.
That's not scary.
I love
All right, I've gone
it.
way off topic now.
Okay. Well, this was fun.
Okay.
We're really excited.
So we have our reading challenges, which you can see if you follow us on there. Jumping spiders are evil. Oh, Connie.
They're cute. They're really cute.
They grow on you. They grow
Yeah.
on you. So our next book is the new one by Evie Green.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to the Goodreads, you'll find links to where you can find it all the places. If you look in the description, there's a link to Amazon. We will be talking about this book on Thursday, February 1st at the same time. It's going to be so much more fun if you guys read this book
Yeah.
with us. It's really short. I just started it today. I'm breezing through it.
Yeah.
Please read it through us. Read it with us. It's so much more fun. And stay tuned on my social media and here on the channel in the community tab. I'll let you know when we're going to be watching The Crow. It'll be in like a week or 2.
Okay. I'm excited.
And we're going to give you a goth
The
makeover.
makeover.
So if you are a member of the channel, you're going to get to see her actual
See
goth
me.
makeover.
See me goth.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Maybe
so
it'll
good.
be like my new thing.
No, oh, that'd be
Wanna-
the coolest. We're the
wanna
goth friends.
Be like goth accountant.
Oh my god, I love goth accountant.
Yeah. It's gonna be
so
a thing.
excited for
We're here.
this.
Okay, cool.
All right, guys. Well, until we meet again.
Blessed be.
He's just a baby.